That time. Michael, the time is now. The place is now. The podcast is now. It's time for a Rage Select podcast. We're going to do it in 15 minutes. So We'll see everybody. 15 minutes worth of dead air, and then we'll be back. I just want to pad out my runtime so that YouTube gives me those sweet... Am I kidding? YouTube has demonetized half the things I've made this week.
It's true. They don't like us.
Back, everybody, to a demonetized Rage Select podcast right here on a demonetized Rage Select with me, Jeff.
I'm Mike.
Yeah. So, at some point, we're gonna have to talk about that Patreon. I had a question for it. Patreon did some horse shit last week.
Oh yeah,
that's not really. We got plenty of other horse shit to talk about before we get to Patreon. So, Michael, we gotta talk about it really briefly.
We're gonna talk about the elephant in the room.
We're gonna talk about it. So, generally speaking, I don't tend to talk about current events or politics or things like that on Rage Select. Part of that is because I feel like these days just about everything has an edge to it,
yes.
And I've always had this idea that like if you're just immersing yourself in being angry 24 hours a day, or like, you know, my favorite YouTuber doesn't believe in the same politics as me, so I can't watch them. I kind of feel like you need a break sometimes.
Yeah.
Like whenever anybody is having a problem, I feel like I tell them, like, just make sure that you have some time to take care of yourself. And that is also true right now. But man, this is wow. Like, I mean, you know, there's not talking about politics, and then there's fucking 2020.
Yeah, 2020 is a clusterfuck of a year.
Yes. So okay, I have like a number of things in my head, and I'm just going to try to say these things as easily as I can. So first off, I do not believe that you should be listening to anything that I have to say about politics.
It's fair.
Like one of the major things that I believe in this world, and Michael, I want you to have a chance to talk too, is one of the major things I believe in this world is that most things in the world are more complicated than they seem in your head, right? Like a lot of times, I know that in the past I have had a lot of. I tend to. I think like most people just like look at the world and be like, well, I like macaroni, so everybody must like macaroni.
No.
And that's not true. So I feel like in this current time, in the place that we live, that you should go find people with like degrees in civics and like lawyers and like people who know what the fuck they're talking about.
No.
Because, you know, at the end of the day, my position is I don't want people to be scared of police officers. I have a lot of friends with a lot of different skin colors, and I don't want any of them to be afraid of getting killed because of a misunderstanding, because something went wrong, or because somebody's fucking crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would like there to be systems where nobody has to worry about getting fucking killed by a cop. Like,
no.
In general, like I think that I don't think that should be controversial,
it's
right?
Not,
like,
it shouldn't be.
like
here's the thing: like, you shouldn't being not racist shouldn't be controversial.
I'd agree.
Wanting cops not to murder everyone shouldn't be controversial.
Totally agree.
But they all are. I don't understand why, but that's America? Question mark.
See, the thing is that I have a lot of opinions about this, but I'm also very conflicted, and I'm evolving day by day. So I'm really hesitant to be like, all right, listen up, Rage Select. I, Jeff, am going to tell you what to believe in.
I'm going to tell you how to fix America.
Right. I'll tell you how to fix America.
First, we have to put Dongacles back into schools.
That's right.
I'm just saying.
Let's get Dongacles on the ballot. Oh, no. Yeah.
That's how we solve America.
So anyway, I believe that everybody I believe that people should go out and say the things that they believe. But you know what? I'd like to maybe say, because I don't want to stay on this for too long, that President Obama gave he had a Medium post that I read that I really thought was good because it emphasized a lot, like, go vote in your local elections. And I know that right now that probably seems really like hackneyed, but the thing is that if you want change in your community, a lot of times, like, voting who you vote for president is not going to change things in your local city.
Yes,
like,
it's true.
Who you vote in as comptroller is probably going to have a much bigger difference in your life, or police chief, or, like, you know, the judges and shit in
City
your town.
council,
Like,
that kind of thing.
your city council is probably going to make a lot more of a difference to these particular types of things. Like when it comes to the United States' response to a pandemic, right? I mean, one would think, nope, don't go too far.
Yeah,
Jeff.
not too far.
The federal government has, I feel, more of a hand to play, and like who's in the White House has more of a hand to play when it comes to responses like that. But when it comes to like civic stuff, one of the best ways that you can change things is by voting in your local elections. And that is not to say that if you feel strongly about this, to like, that I am saying go home and vote. I'm saying do what you're doing and vote at the same time.
Yes.
But vote,
The thing is, a lot of people saying voting doesn't work, but that's not true, because voting works when it comes to local stuff a lot. A lot of people don't realize that local is very, very important. Federal stuff is also very important, but local affects you directly, and that's something that people really should pay attention to more often than not.
I've been reading a lot recently about just like police unions.
Yeah.
And did you know that Austin was like one of the only cities in the United States to like reject the last like police union like proposal that came to the city council?
I did not, actually.
Because there were activists that showed up at every city council meeting and basically said, we see you, we're watching, and if you go the way that we don't want to, we are going to make people aware of this, and we are going to say, when it comes time to vote for you, hey, this guy voted for this. I don't think you would like that. Maybe vote for somebody else. So somebody made a really good point, like I said before, that if you manage to get to a point where people are willing to change the system, then you need to have people receptive to change in power.
No, of course.
A lot of that is your local government. So
the last thing I'll say about the entire thing, which is that Black Lives Matter is in fact is what's going on. Just listen is really what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
Find a lot of black artists, black YouTubers, there's plenty of people who have much better things to say about everything that's going on than we do. We make dick jokes and we talk about Metal Gear and Dark Souls all day. But we're not the guys you're going to want to talk about this.
I don't believe so. No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
We still we're on your side, and that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah,
and like I said, it shouldn't be controversial that people should matter.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah. What I'll say at the end of this too is exactly what you said is very important. I feel like over the course of my life, I have learned more about the world by talking to people with a dramatically different viewpoint from myself.
Exactly.
And there were a lot of things where I had a reaction, like when I was younger, where I was like, that's not a problem. And then I went and made friends with people who were different than me, and they were like, oh, no, that's a problem. Like, here are the ways it has directly affected my life. And I was like, maybe it is a problem. Maybe it's different for me than it is for other people. So,
listen.
Yeah, go do that. Yes, Black Lives Matter. I'm 100% like, go, yes, do that. You can tell that I'm just like very comfortable talking about it. Tell you what, Michael, let's talk about Space Force for a minute.
Let's talk about Space Force.
Because we've got a real contentious podcast full of bad video game things, which as we segue out, let's just say that we all know, right, that like the bad video game things are like way down on the list of bad things right now, but
we just said we're not the people to talk about that.
But we are not the people to
talk about the game part, though.
We are the people to talk about the video game part.
Completely different thing.
Also, as somebody who watches a lot of dumbass TV, I think I can talk a little bit about Space Force, which was not very good. I feel like everybody's just kind of like, it wasn't really very good.
That's all I hear about it. I saw a clip of it and I was like, wow, that was terribly unfunny.
The thing is that I think that I'm just on like the medium low end of the spectrum, but I think the reason that I'm there is because I spent all weekend drinking and watching Space Force and watching SpaceX, the SpaceX Dragon launch at the same time.
So you just had space on the brain.
I had space brain. My brain goes all. Some people may say I've had space brain for years. No, it really wasn't very good. It just the jokes weren't like super great. Like the whole second episode was like a CGI monkey trying to fix a satellite, and I was just like, "What?
Yeah,
what? Did you watch it?"
I saw a clip of the CGI monkey playing with like a CGI dog in space.
Yeah.
I was like, there is money behind this thing. And there's a lot of clips I saw was just really bad jokes. And they were like not all that clever.
No.
Kind of thing. Like one of the jokes I saw was one of those ones where it was just like, oh, I wish my parents could see this kind of thing. And then he's like, well, they couldn't come because they couldn't get their flight in time or something. And I was like, well, that's a terrible joke.
Actually, I thought that was one of the better jokes because that was, I mean, like, it's just because I've been watching so much 30 Rock recently.
That's saying something, though.
A very
like,
30 Rock joke of...
Yeah, but the thing is, the way it was said just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like if Alec Baldwin did that gag, I'm sure I would have loved it.
Yeah.
But it's the way Steve Carell delivers that line that I had an issue with.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It also just looked way too, like, glitzy, and there were so many people, like good actors in that show. Like, I don't think Ben Schwartz should have been in that show. Not because I don't like Ben Schwartz, but because it was just like he had like one episode with half a subplot about Melania Trump redesigning the Space Force uniforms, and then they were all like silly looking. And then like at the end of the episode, Steve Carell's just like, yeah, get rid of all that. And then like next episode, they're back to, and I'm like, but okay, there are some plot lines that go over the entirety of this show. And then there's like, that would have been funny if henceforth everybody was wearing really like flashy Paris Fashion Week Space Force uniforms and they all hated it. Like they had capes and shit. Like, yeah, because there was like this, it was just a very weird show.
It doesn't sound great.
Have you ever watched a show that is like, where you're watching it and you're like, well, this isn't funny, but I'm kind of watching it for the characters a little bit. Like I'm just treating it more as a drama because it's not making me laugh. Like, I feel like that's what it was.
That's
but even
difficult. That's a difficult thing to be like. It's supposed to be a comedy. That's a really weird thing to say.
No, I get it. I get it.
I've had instances where something was advertised as comedy, and then it turns out it wasn't a comedy at all.
Right.
So those I can kind of get. Like Man of the Year was like that, and Adventureland was like that, where it was like, oh, it's a rip and roaring comedy with Robin Williams. Like, no, it's this whole thing about like corruption and shit. And it's really dark.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And yeah, I hate when that happens. But Space Force definitely was not supposed to be that.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't. It's like they wrote somebody a blank check and there was nobody there to just be like, is any of this funny? I mean, it all looks really good, but is any of it funny?
Which is crazy because the guy who made it has helped make a bunch of different shows.
Yeah.
He helped make Upload recently, actually, on Amazon, which I heard was pretty good.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like he was given this check and then just was like, well, you guys got it right, and then just fucking left.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. And fucking John Malkovich. Like, how do you get John Malkovich into this?
I hear he's one of the better parts of the whole thing, though.
He kind of is, but it's one of those things where you're like, Malkovich? Real? Okay.
I haven't seen him in a while, to be honest.
Sure. Anyway, I don't recommend Space Force. I say, watch season 4 of Rick and Morty and keep watching What We Do in the Shadows because, that's funnier.
Great shows.
Every episode of that show has been funnier than fucking Space Force. Well, speaking of space, it's time for a bad story, Michael.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Take 2, you sons of bitches.
Holy shit, though.
Yeah. So Jason Schreier showed us just how crappy Take-Two is this week with the story of Take-Two and Star Theory Games and Kerbal Space Program 2.
This is some epic betrayal shit.
So basically, here's the deal. Take-Two hired Star Theory Games to make Kerbal Space Program 2. They were licensed to make Kerbal Space Program 2. Just for... I was looking at it. Star Theory Games actually, they've been around for a little while. They made, oh God, where the hell was the part where they said what they made? Okay, I can't find it. Anyway, they made some pretty decent games beforehand. So they were in contract negotiations with Take-Two, and Take-Two wanted to buy their studio.
Yeah.
So here comes the contract negotiations. They're doing their thing, and then suddenly the Star Theory doesn't like the licensing terms in the contract, and so the negotiations stall. At which point, Take-Two messages everybody who works at Star Theory Games and on LinkedIn and says, "Hi, Kerbal Space Program 2 is not happening. you all, it's happening internally now, and it's not happening at Star Theory Games. We want to hire all of you with like cash bonuses to come work for Take-Two and make Kerbal Space Program 2 for us. Which then we'll get back to that, but then apparently just like all the shit hit the fan.
Yeah,
like around a third of the people at Star Theory like left immediately. As of this point, it seems like a little bit more than half of them have moved to Take-Two. Apparently, the owners at Star Theory, they were like, "Look, guys, we've got money in the bank. We're gonna get a new project. It's gonna be fine. Like, don't worry about it. Please stay."
Yeah,
a bunch of people left. They were getting these big contracts. And this all happened like back in
December, January,
November.
Like
yeah. Well, so then the saddest part that I hadn't heard any of the other coverage, Michael, is that Star Theory was like, they had one shot, and the thing they were going to do was spin up some prototypes and show them to developers at the Game Developers Conference in March to get a new contract to keep their studio alive.
Oh, Jesus.
Then coronavirus.
Oh, my God, really?
Then GDC is canceled. Then Star Theory closes.
That's fucking awful.
Yes.
I didn't know that part of it.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't heard anybody talking about that. It's in the Schreier article, but
Holy
yeah.
shit,
like,
those poor bastards.
Yeah.
They didn't stand a chance.
They had like a third of their studio left, and they were just like, we can do this. And they've been around for a while.
Yeah, it was like 2008 is what I found.
Yeah, like they have not, they're not like it's not like they were made to make Kerbal Space Program. Planetary Annihilation, that's what I was thinking of. You remember that one with the big mechs and you could like throw like planets and shit at each other?
They're the ones who made that?
Yeah, they made that. They made Monday Night Combat. You remember that? That was like a weird kind of like Team Fortress 2 type of thing. Anyway, and they got $2 million worth of Kickstarter money for Planetary Annihilation in 2014. So yeah, this is just fucking terrible.
That's awful.
Like, it's so shitty. Oh yeah, I forgot about the crap cherry on top of the diarrhea sundae is, what am I, the angry video game nerd? Is that the studio that Take-Two created to make Kerbal Space Program 2 is called Intercept.
Seriously?
So all of the people that they sloughed off went to Intercept in order to make Kerbal Space Program 2.
God, that's like a bad guy idea.
Yeah.
Just calling it Intercept, really?
Fucking... So, I don't know, man.
Intercepted those motherfuckers.
Like, this is one of those things where I really don't, like, I don't want to buy this game anymore. Like, I want to find a way to steal it and like give my money, like find out where the guys from Star Theory go and like buy whatever shitty game they make the next time they have to do something.
It's pretty horrifying. It also doesn't look good for the game in general.
Well, I mean, a lot of it is like, you remember, I mean, we've both been around long enough to know that like that game's not coming out till 2021. There's a very good possibility that like nobody will remember this shit in 2021.
Most likely, to be honest. It's not like this is the first time a studio it's switched games and then fucked another studio.
Yeah.
But this is the first time it sounded so utterly brutal.
It's also just very strange because the original Kerbal Space Program was made by Squad, which is a Mexican developer.
Yeah.
And like they were independent. They were early access and independent. They did that Notch Minecraft thing, right? They would just put their game out on Steam. They kept updating it. They kept putting more into it. It was early access, and it became this like little cottage thing where fucking space nerds wanted to play Kerbal Space Program. And I mean, I think they put out an update for Kerbal Space Program like 2 months ago that added new shit into it.
They did,
like
actually,
added a new booster or something into it. I'm just like, this game is obviously a labor of love, and to so see it intercepted by like this gigantic publisher that just ruined a game studio. Like, just fucking ruined. Like, there was a good game studio. I mean, these aren't my favorite games, but they weren't bad games.
They were an okay studio kind of thing.
And the thing is that Take-Two, like, remember, is the publisher of Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they have that Grand Theft Auto online money. And like also Borderlands, and like 2K publishes a lot of shit.
Yes.
And like, as near as I can tell, the reason they did this was because whatever terms Star Theory wanted for making Kerbal Space Program 2 were like unacceptable. And so it's just one of those things where like, have you ever heard of those? Oh my God, this is a political podcast. Ever heard of those stories where like people at a McDonald's will like get really close to unionizing, and then like McDonald's corporate shuts that branch down, fires everybody, and then like builds a new one across the street and hires brand new people.
Oh, that happens all the time.
It's like one of those stories where it's just like, fuck you, 2K, fuck you. Like I'm sorry, I don't have any. There's no rationale for like, but we needed more money, and it's like, no, fuck you. Like, I don't. And the thing is that this is maybe one of the first. No, that's not true. I was gonna say maybe this is one of the first times that one of my favorite franchises has gotten fucked like this. But then I remembered Metal Gear, and I was like, oh right.
That one got pretty fucked pretty hard. But this is just so utterly brutal.
Yeah.
To the studio, I think is what it is. Because at least with Metal Gear, it was more. It more felt like one specific person got fucked.
Right.
But this one felt like they nuked a building out of orbit kind of thing.
Oh God, it's so shitty. It's just really shitty. So pouring out for Star Theory.
Those poor guys. Fuck.
Real
poor bastards.
Real shitty. And it would be different. I don't know. Just the fact that it's Take-Two and it's just like they have so much fucking money.
It's not unheard of Take-Two fucking somebody over though. Is the thing.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. Definitely not. Definitely not. All right. Well, from there we're gonna move on to we're gonna have a roller coaster this week. So Paradox Interactive, on the other hand, this week. Signed a collective bargaining agreement with the Swedish Union of Game Developers. So, for anybody who doesn't remember, I brought it up. Paradox Interactive, they put out, they're a publisher that put out a lot of games, some of which people probably heard of, some of which they haven't. Like City Skylines is probably one of their big ones, Prison Architect. They got a lot of that, like Stellaris and Planetfall and like Hearts of Iron and shit like that.
Yeah, City Skylines got a huge boost recently, too.
Yeah. So yeah, they're like a pretty good publisher, and I feel like I put this story here just to show you the difference. Is that they've been in talks for many months with this Swedish like game developer like union of game developers, and they came to like an appropriate thing. What's the words? Agreement.
I was like, I don't know.
Between the two of them.
I'm having a hard time figuring that one out.
Yeah, there's a quote from one of the people who said, once Paradox realized how strongly our members felt about this, they were very receptive. And then there was a quote from Paradox. What was that one where they said that they were just like, hey, we just want to make sure that everybody feels good and valued and like, the work for us.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to just squeeze the blood out of them with like, I don't know, maybe there's a really bad like crunch times at Paradox that I don't know about. This is just like
a lot of places have that apparently.
Yeah. So yeah, good. Yay Paradox. Boo Take-Two. Yay Paradox. Boo Take-Two.
God, it's so hard to get away from Take-Two.
Yeah, it is.
Fucking everywhere.
Or 2K. 2K.
Is it Take-2K now?
Was it 2K or was it Take-Two?
Yes.
Oh Jesus. Hold on. I
kept saying Take-Two, but
was it Take-Two or
I think they call themselves 2K nowadays.
It is Take-Two. It is Take-Two. Okay. Are Take-Two and 2K the same company?
I don't remember.
Oh my God. Why do I not know this?
I thought they were.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then it's okay if I go back and forth between the two of them over and over and over again. Woo, it's a messy podcast.
Well, they're not. Okay.
No, they're not. They're not. Yeah.
Either way, Take-Two is fucking everywhere.
Okay. When I said Borderlands.
Oh, wait. No, they might be.
Are they?
2K's founder, like if the wiki says 2K's founder is Take-Two.
Is Take-Two? Okay, hold on. We gotta finish this out.
We gotta figure the shit out.
We gotta figure it out. What's okay?
Yeah, 2K was founded under Take-Two in January 2005.
Okay, so 2K is a subsidiary of Take-Two.
Take-Two.
Okay,
so yes, the answer is technically yes.
Yes.
Either way, you can't get away from them.
Oh my God,
their fucking hands are in everything.
Jesus Lord. All right, well. Speaking of shit that you can't get away from, let's talk about Ubisoft and some stupid shit.
Oh, shit. What did they do this time?
So you know what? I'm going to let everybody in on a little secret. We don't have any Bethesda stories this week, but
thank God.
I think it's everybody else. So Ubisoft, remember Trackmania?
Vaguely.
Remember, Trackmania was like a thing where you could like spin up these like randomly generated tracks, or you could build them and then you could put them online. Other people could race on them. You could race against people's ghosts and stuff.
Oh, okay.
There's also, I think it was like a Shoot Mania that came out at some point. That was like
I think I heard about that one. Yeah.
Anyway, Trackmania is one of those things like Kerbal Space Program that the people that love it, they fucking really love it.
Oh, okay.
So Ubisoft announced that they're putting out a reboot of Trackmania Nations, and it is going to be free to play. But there's also going to be some additional things. There's a $10 a year thing where you basically get access. Like you can edit, you can like demo edit tracks, but you can't save them unless you pay the $10 a year to do that. And then there's like a $30 a year thing where you pay and you can get into like tournaments and you can get some more cosmetic stuff that you can't get otherwise. Right? Okay. None of this. Does any of this sound off base?
Yeah.
Yeah, this all sounds fine, right?
Okay.
Okay. So this is the dumb part. What would you call the pricing structure that I just laid out for you?
A subscription.
Oh, but you would be wrong, because the person from Ubisoft, the rep from Ubisoft, Nandeo or whoever's making this, said, actually, it's not a subscription model, but an access to the game for a limited time. You pay for having access to the game for one period, and that's it. When the time is over, you have to buy the game again, and the time that you want to access it again.
That's what a subscription is.
Yes.
It's just a subscription with extra steps.
Yes, this is some fucking double speak bullshit, because they announced this. They said that. People were like, boo, subscription based, fucking, boo, subscription model. And they were like, actually, it's not a subscription. You just have to pay for it once a year, every year. And everybody was like, that's a subscription. They're like, no, it's different. And we were all like, you can't just... We didn't fall for surprise mechanics. We're not going to fall for that. So.
All they did was define a subscription, though.
Yes,
that's my issue with it.
Yes,
it's not like, oh my god, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
Yeah. So there you go. That
doesn't make any sense.
Yep. No, it's not a subscription, Michael. You just pay every year, once a year, for the game.
What the fuck,
and
guys?
if you don't pay for it, then you don't get it. So that's not a subscription. At least they didn't make up some dumb, like some double speak for it.
Some name for it.
Yeah. Like, the whole
recurring buying.
Recurrent user spending, where it's like, you know what that means? That's just fucking subscription.
Just a subscription. Again, a subscription with more steps.
Like, people pay on a regular basis. Okay.
That's so fucking dumb.
Yeah, it is. It is. At least they didn't give it a name. At least they didn't call it surprise mechanics or...
No, they're going to give it a name eventually. Someone's going to keep calling them out on it, that they're going to come up with a name for this horseshit.
Fucking
call it Ubisoft buy game shit. I don't know what the fuck they'll call it.
Yeah. So, yeah. Ubisoft. Ruining stuff.
Fucking idiots.
I tell you what, maybe this will be more exciting. Valorant came out last week, Michael.
A what? I've never heard of Valorant.
Yes,
is this a Disney movie?
Yes. No, it's the most violent Disney movie ever. No, this is Riot Games' new Counter-Strike meets Overwatch thing.
Yeah.
And they came out with this like little cinematic movie called Duelists, with a couple of the characters like running around. And it's so Spider-Verse to me, like just the way the characters have a kind of little bit of cell shading, and then they got like big words behind them and stuff.
Well, my only issue is there's something kind of off about the way they're animated.
Yeah?
There's something stiff about especially the guy character.
Huh.
Like the way he moves feels a little stiffer than most.
Okay.
Well, it's only because when you first showed this to me, you mentioned Overwatch is cinematic stuff, and they're so like Pixar level fucking animation stuff,
right?
That this feels like early DreamWorks Madagascar 1 kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not as stiff as the actual gameplay. I think it's so funny because they have this really lovely like cinematic, and I know that Overwatch did it, so everybody's got to do it. But when I watch this game be played, it looks boring. Or it looks like Counter-Strike. It looks like Counter-Strike because it's a round-based thing where you've got like 5 or 6 people, and then you go, and one team has to set like a bomb, and the other team has to defuse it, and everybody's got magical powers like it's Overwatch. But like the way that Overwatch, when you see the silhouette of Roadhog, you know exactly who that is.
Yeah.
Like everybody here just looks like the same. It kind of reminds me of a Brink a little bit. Like
I could definitely see that. Also, the stages aren't all that impressive looking.
No, well, I mean, like it seems to me like Counter-Strike, like it's made for super tactical mouse and keyboard play, not for I don't know. Blizzard's always been very good at making accessible games, like taking World of Warcraft was one of those games where like previous to World of Warcraft, MMOs were so fucking hard to play.
Yeah,
you had to learn how to play EverQuest. I had to write code to play Final Fantasy 11, and then they were just like, here, everybody can play it. And then I feel like Overwatch is kind of like that a little bit for FPSs.
They're pretty good about that, yeah.
But this just looks like you have to be super good at.
Well, even
games.
this trailer that you just showed me, where it shows the actual gameplay, after the little cinematic,
Yeah.
it's like, wow, this gameplay is not doing anything for me. Like it's supposed to it's trying to have these action shots against enemies.
Yeah.
But they don't do anything to warrant an action shot, if that makes sense.
Yep.
It just looks boring.
All the animation is really stiff. Yeah. Well, you're not the only person to think that, Michael, because right now it appears that Valorant is getting review bombed in the on the Metacritic user scores.
Oh, geez, what are they saying, though?
They're getting a lot of zeros. Well, one is, I don't know if you remember, but Valorant has that whole... I was actually going to install Valorant, and then it was like, we have to install that anti-piracy thing that runs at like a system kernel level, and I was like, maybe Michael and I should play this comic book game instead that's really terrible.
It was it was not great.
But there's been a lot of people banging on it for exactly what you just said, that it looks really boring, like the look of it is dull. And a lot of people saying it's just a Counter-Strike ripoff. Because, I mean, I don't know. You go after the Counter-Strike crowd. We've already seen that gamers get, ridiculously loyal to, a thing.
Yes, it's true.
So, this is just a Counter-Strike ripoff, 0. And it's like, well, I mean, Darksiders is just a Zelda ripoff, but that's a good game.
I think it varies, though, is the thing. It has to look interesting, because that's the thing about the Darksiders thing. Sure, it's kind of, at least the second one, it's kind of like a Zelda thing, but it's also a very intricate looking thing.
Yeah.
Whereas this just feels like somebody wanted to make Overwatch on top of CSS, or not CSS, CSGO kind of thing.
Somebody who does want to make Overwatch over CSS, by the way.
Yes, they do. Somebody's probably working on that now. But yeah, so somebody kind of wanted to do that with that sort of idea, but didn't really work that hard at it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is my issue with it.
Yeah. Well, at least you won't have to deal with cheaters, because apparently a lot of people are mad that during the beta period, a bunch of people who got keys, they used cheats, and they're still banned.
Oh, geez.
As of the release of this free-to-play game. And because of that kernel level thing, their hardware ID is banned.
Oh, my God.
So they can't make a new account and just get in.
That's amazing. Fucked, but amazing.
Which, there was kind of in this article that I was reading on Kotaku where people were like, oh, fuck you, Riot, or no, I learned my lesson, let me back in. And I'm just like, no, you keep them out. There's never a reason for you to cheat in an online video game.
Jesus.
You were making less fun for everyone. You are decreasing the total amount of fun in the world by fucking around with your dumb, cheaty bullshit. So yeah.
I only feel slightly bad for them, only because it's a beta, so some of them probably felt comfortable fucking with the beta at least. But yeah,
you gotta get them you gotta teach them. You gotta teach them early.
Teach them early.
Don't you fucking cheat in beta? Yeah.
If you cheat in your dreams, you cheat for real.
That's right. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think I'll play Valorant until maybe it comes to consoles.
I'm probably never going to touch this game.
I mean, if it's free to play on consoles, I might play it. But I'm not going up against the fucking Counter-Strike crowd.
No,
fuck that.
Yeah, don't even joke about those guys. Those guys are crazy.
Speaking of consoles, there was a report. This has been something that's kind of, I feel like, I felt like this was a no-duh news
feels
story,
like a no-duh.
But apparently it's not. So this week there was a report that the PlayStation 5 games will not be playable on a PlayStation 4.
Consider me shocked.
Yeah, well, there was an interview with one of the with Sony Interactive CEO Jim Ryan, who said, "We have always said that we believe in generations. We believe that when you go to all the trouble of creating a next-gen console, that it should include features and benefits that previous generations do not include. In our view, people should make games that can make the most of these features, whether it's DualSense controller, blah, 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 blah. We're thinking it's time to give the PlayStation community something new, something different that can only really be enjoyed on the PS5." Which is interesting because, there's going to be PS5 exclusives, obviously, but then there's going to be Call of Duty that has to run on a PS4 and a PS5 and an Xbox One and Xbox Series X and an Xbox 360 and a fucking Wii and the Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy Color and the 2600.
And your PS Vita, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Just Dance ain't going to be only out on the PS5. I mean, in some ways, again, I'm really no duh about this. Of course, they're going to want to show off all their fancy hardware.
I feel like this is more for the general audience who's really bad about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because, especially for things that some people don't understand the differences of things.
Yeah.
They don't understand the difference between an Xbox, an Xbox 360, an Xbox One, a Wii U, kind of thing. They're like, well, it's got the same name in it, so it has to work on everything, right? It's like, well, no, that's not how any of this works.
Michael, are you telling me that the normal average consumer is confused by the Xbox One, the Xbox One X, and the Xbox Series X, and which one of those is which Xbox?
Oh, you missed the Xbox Series S, too.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Well, I didn't even put the 360 in there. But
well, that's what I mean. Like, the fact that the Xbox Series S has the same name as one of the newer things completely fucks everything. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Goddamn Xbox. They're really, like,
Xbox. No, it's the Xbox One S.
Still. There you go. Still. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same exact issue.
Yeah.
There's the thing is that, like, people don't understand that. Like, when I worked retail, I worked retail during the time the Wii U came out, and I was consistently, and the same with the new 3DS, that fucking terrible ass name. I would have to tell people, they're like, what's the difference? It's like, okay, you gotta give me a minute. You got to completely listen to what I'm about to tell you to tell you the exact difference. And then once you're done, they're just like, I don't understand. It's like, God damn it.
It's interesting, though, to read this because I feel like as we've gotten further down the line. Okay, so in my mind, it's like, well, of course you can't play a PS5 game on a PS4. You can't play an SNES game on an NES.
No.
You can't play a Game Boy Advance game on a Game Boy. Like, what the fuck? What are you thinking here, people? There's only one system in the world that has full backwards compatibility. It's called the PC, and even there, you got to download DOSBox for half the old fucking games.
That's true.
But I realize that there are a lot more people now who have basically this attitude that, like, no, I bought these PS4 games and I want to be able to play them on my PS5. And then I think that Microsoft has kind of set this precedent with the whole, like, for 1 year after the Series X comes out, those games will be backwards compatible with the One X and the One S and the One and etc. So, but not PlayStation, and who knows? Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. You know,
you'll have to see how it goes.
Maybe we're going to flip-flop again, and maybe this is Sony's time to be too arrogant, and that the Series X is going to kick their asses everywhere because it'll be cheaper and faster, and there'll be more games everybody wants to play on it.
Hopefully.
Maybe.
I actually wouldn't mind if it just was a flip flop over and over again. Because all it does is it lets them want to give us more things.
Yeah, let them fight. Let them fight.
Let them fight.
Yeah. Let's see. Speaking of PlayStations, so this week we were going to have a PlayStation 5 event. We're going back. We're going back, everybody. We got to get back in the car to go to politics. So this week we had a lot of companies that basically kind of ceased operations in order to say, hey, this is a time when you should be paying attention to things that are not what we're doing. And Sony was one of them. So the PlayStation 5 event that was supposed to happen on June 4th has been rescheduled. It is kind of like in the future after these things that are happening are different.
That's a really good call, to be honest. There's so much going on in the world. And I'm not even just talking about the current, Black Lives Matter thing. There's also the COVID thing. Like, the world's on fire kind of thing. And it's honestly the PS5. Like, I get why Sony is just like, look, you guys, we don't want to be all a celebratory in the middle of, like, literal the world on fire
right
kind of thing.
Right.
We're gonna look like assholes.
You don't want people to have to choose between, like, watching Sony announce a new console on Twitch or, like, marching in the streets for the rights of your friends and neighbors. Like, no, bad. Yes. So
I kind of like the idea that Sony's basically going, stop being racist and I'll give you the PS5. Just stop it. Just quit it.
I tell you what I'm worried about, though, Michael. I can't stop thinking about the idea that it's going to take 2 weeks and then this is all going to be over, and then a huge spike in the COVID over because of the
no, we know
people.
We know that's going to happen.
Oh my god!
Maybe there'll be a huge spike in PlayStation sales. Who knows?
2020. You know what? I feel like we need to change the New Year's thing. You know how it's like you got the old man and then the baby is the new year.
Oh yeah,
and I feel like it needs to be like the New Year graphic now needs to be like, here's 2020. Like the old man is there, right? And then like, here comes the new year, and it's just this big, like, buff guy, and the iconography is he hands his beer to the previous year. Because I feel like every year we're just like, all right, listen, 2017 was a bag of shit, but 2018 is going to be fuck. All right, well, listen, 2018 was a dumpster fire, but 2019, Jesus Christ.
Well, there was this great meme that happened, and this was way before 2020 even happened, but there's this one guy I forgot his name. He's like a webcomic guy. You see his stuff be used for memes all the time.
Yeah.
We had this one specific one about like a guy about like a year talking to another year. Mm-hmm. He's like, this year is going to be great, and another different year or the next year shows up like with some battle scars. It's like, oh, you were so naive. But then the next year shows up with even more battle scars, going, you're naive. And then this next one comes in saying, you're naive. And that's what it is. That's literally what's happening. Is that each year keeps coming back to tell the other year, oh, you were so naive.
Yeah. 2020 really puts 2018 in perspective, where you're just like, oh man, you remember how mad you were in 2018 about, I mean, take your pick, anything, everything. Yeah. And then 2020, you're just like, fuck me. Holy shit. Anyway, sorry.
It's a whole clusterfuck of things.
Whoa. We're going to get through it. Podcast listeners. I did bring this up, though, because in addition, we had a lot of different companies that showed their support. Naughty Dog showed their support. Riot Games showed their support. Microsoft put some stuff online.
Yeah, a lot of game companies, and not even just game companies, a whole shit ton of companies in general.
Yeah. Now let's get back to Take-Two, 2K.
Oh, okay.
So GTA Online and Red Dead Online are going offline to in honor of George Floyd and all the stuff that's happening for 2 hours today, Thursday.
That's interesting.
And I'm like, what?
That's a weird time frame. In general.
Yeah, like 2 hours doesn't seem. I mean, I don't know.
A lot of people are probably even going to notice. They're going to think it's maintenance is really what they're going to think.
Yeah, it was a little weird. I don't know.
Maybe it is maintenance. So they just wanted to use this as an excuse.
It's also 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which like is 3 to 5 our time. Yeah. You know, like it is kind of in the middle of the afternoon. I
don't really think. Yeah, it's
like they didn't want to miss the dinner rush. I don't.
It's just so weird.
Anyway,
Take-Two makes a lot of money. They don't actually care, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. Call of Duty also delayed the next season of Warzone. They said now is not the time. We're gonna wait, and
of all the people who are gonna be kind of crazy about this, it's the Call of Duty fans.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, they might be crazy, but apparently Activision is getting ready to really start expanding and cracking down on racism in Call of Duty.
It's a good move.
Yeah. Apparently a lot of this extends to racist usernames and clan tags and then sprays and stuff.
See, I'm not surprised by any of this.
No, me neither. So apparently the in-game reporting tool is going to be expanded and some of the automated stuff is going to be expanded. Hopefully Call of Duty will be less racist. I don't play Call of Duty, so I don't know how racist Call of Duty is, but I
don't know. Well, that's the thing.
Any racist is kind of too much racist.
Every now and then you'll run into something like that. I was playing a bunch of Halo over the weekend, the multiplayer for the first time in a long time. And I forgot just how offensive some people could be.
How
with their
shitty
stuff.
Random people on voice comms are.
Well, not even just voice comms. I fought two guys who their names were UNSC Trump or something like that.
Okay,
was their name, and they were being kind of shitty here and there. And you can make a Spartan name or whatever that appears above you.
Okay,
and most of theirs was just Jew. Is basically what it said, and I was just like, what? And you tend to forget some people are just. That's the old fucking Joker line. Some people just want to, or not the Joker, Alfred thing. It was some people just want to watch the world burn kind of thing. Because people are fucking weird. I don't understand it but a lot of times it's because they think they're edgy and they're teenagers and shit. And then they'll look back on it and be like, oh, I was such a little fucking jackass kind of thing.
I was a jackass when I was a teenager. I don't remember being racist, but
that's the thing is these people don't these people are all on 4chan and shit.
Yeah,
their version of edgy is basically racism.
yeah. I think there was a time, it was 2 years ago when I got really, I became very just fascinated by incels. And I remember going to some of the incel boards and just reading what they would write. And I was just like, fuck. Good Lord. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't be surprised that I was saying at the beginning, don't think that everybody in the world believes the way you do.
Yes.
Because some people are dramatically different in a lot of directions.
Some people are really in the Batman v Superman. And those people you don't want to talk to. Fuck those guys.
I don't even remember getting any backlash last week. All right. Well, you know what? Let's change gears dramatically to Game Gears. The Gamegear Micro was announced this week. Probably the most inexplicable new micro console that anybody's ever made.
No one has ever asked for this, except for my roommate, because my roommate was really into the Game Gear.
This is so weird because it's so small.
It is so fucking small.
fucking small. And there's going to be 4 of these, and each one is going to be hard coded with 4 different games on it. So like the black one has Sonic and what was it? Like Sonic and
No, it's just Sonic the Hedgehog 1.
No. Each one has 4 games.
Yeah, but I was saying like because the blue one has Sonic and Tails.
Yeah.
But, the black one has Sonic the Hedgehog, some bubble game.
Oh, it was like a Puyo Pop type of game.
Outrun, which is like this arcade.
Yeah, Outrun and then some other Japanese game.
And so a game I don't really know how to say.
So anyway, there's 4 of these, and they each have 4 games on them. And okay, they're not available in the United States, Michael, but I did look up on an article about how much they cost on Japanese Amazon, and they're $46 a piece.
Oh my god, really?
Yes. They have placed in the back for AA batteries, and apparently they can also be powered through USB. Inexplicably, if you pre-order all 4 of them, you can also get this. The Game Boy or the Game Gear had a big magnifier that you could put over the screen to make the screen bigger.
Yeah.
And you can get a version of that for this tiny goddamn hand-sized console. None of this seems worth it.
No.
Like $46 times 4 is what? 116.
Don't look at me. I'm terrible at math.
$180, like almost $200, like.
Well, it's just 4 games each.
Yeah,
it's not even a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, I can pull it out and show it to you. Go online and look at the GPI case, which is like a Game Boy. It looks like an old Game Boy, but it's got a color OLED screen in it, and you ended
up getting it.
What's that?
I didn't know you ended up getting it.
Oh yeah, it's got a place that you can put a Raspberry Pi 0W in it. I never got it. I never actually finished setting it up, but
yeah, I remember you showing it to me a long time ago.
Raspberry Pi 0W in it, and you can play any Super Nintendo, Genesis shit you want. So,
oh my god, this feels nice.
It's so good, right? Like it's such a good build. And those things, I think the GPI cases, those are like $70 maybe.
Yeah,
and
you can put whatever on it.
Yeah.
And it's a good size for my hands.
It's like the same size as it's kind of like a Game Boy Color size almost.
I could see that.
And it's also got 4 face buttons and 2 LNR buttons on the back. Did you notice those? It's literally got LNR buttons for Super Nintendo games. Sorry, I didn't mean this to be just an advertisement.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the buttons. Oh,
for my GPI case.
Okay, I feel it now. That's fascinating.
Yeah. This thing is $70 on Amazon, and then you got to buy a 0W, which is like $10.
Still though, that's fucking nuts. But yeah, the Game Gear, man, the Game Gear. Like the reason the Game Gear failed originally was its battery life was stupid. Like it drained it like nothing.
Yeah,
like it was kind of neat for what it was, but
I don't know.
Like it would make sense if it was like the way the SNES Mini is, where it has a shit ton of games on it or something. And there were just 4 different colors, sure, but the 4 different colors, but with 4 different games.
See, the thing is, I can't even see getting this thing to hack it because the screen's so goddamn small that like, what are you going to do? I mean, I can almost see maybe getting it to hollow the case out and do a build with the controls on it, like, and put a 0W in it.
Even then, I don't think it would be worth it.
I don't think it'd be worth it. I think there's better solutions than that on the internet. So,
it's a collector's item at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, we gotta get going because we're overtime like always.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Let's see what else. Oh, speaking of Sega, Total War. The next Total War is having a very, 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 very bizarre Epic Game Store launch.
That's interesting.
So, this is Total War Saga Troy. And would you like to guess what the strange Epic Game Store twist? What the Epic Night Shyamalan twist is to this story?
Is it that it's exclusive to the Game Gear?
No, that's a good guess though. I would put it right next to the Game Gear if that was the case. No, for the first day that this game goes on sale, you can just go to the Epic Game Store and get it for free.
Wait, what?
A brand new game, and
just free
for the first day. You can just get it on Epic Game Store. 100% freebies.
That's fucking nuts. That's weird as shit.
Going back to what you were talking about with the let them fight, like. This shit is what we get when somebody wants to try to take down a titan like Steam, is we get the next Total War game is just fucking free. And like you just go get it and then like install it if you ever have a computer that can play it. Like just get it for free.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. The latest Devolver Digital game came out on there this week for free.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah. It's not one of the ones you would have heard of.
Still though.
But yeah.
But that's the thing, is like release and then free for like 24 hours. is crazy as hell for anything, no matter what it is.
I mean, it's a $60 game, right? Like
That's fucking nuts.
Like it's going to be a full-on release, and it's going to be free. And the reason for that is because of goddamn Fortnite. Like,
yeah, they're making hand over fist on that goddamn thing.
it's so amazing how much they've able, because they basically paid for this game, and then they negotiated to basically say, well, the first day it'll be free. So if you want a Total War game, I don't know when this is actually coming out though. I don't know. Look it up.
So fuck me.
Yep. Wait, hold on. Is this it? No. Total War. Oh my God. What the heck? There's an announced trailer from last year. Go look it up. Speaking of knights in armor and chivalry, Kingdoms of Amalur is getting a re-reckoning. Apparently, they're going to be putting out everybody's favorite main subsidized. Was it main that subsidized Kingdoms of Amalur? What they like that?
I think so.
And baseball guy or something, and he had the company, and they like gave him a loan from the state. And the Kingdoms of Amalur came out, and it was a fucking horrendous failure. And like, there's that whole fucking thing. Maybe it wasn't made. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong place.
I don't know. Either way, it was fucking weird.
Yeah. So apparently, you could play. Well, this just popped up on the Microsoft Store, and then like got delisted. But apparently, you're going to be able to play Kingdoms of Amalur sometime soon, probably around August.
Remastered that shit.
Yeah, it is. It is remastered. Kingdoms of Amalur was not a very good game.
No, it was not.
I mean, I know that there's like some people that are just like, it wasn't that bad. And I'm like, you're right. It wasn't that bad. It was like a mediocre video game. It was not shitty, but it was not very good either.
No.
So
came out at a time where there was a lot of really good stuff out.
apparently it's being made by Kaiko, the guys that did the remaster of Darksiders.
Oh, that's neat.
So let's see. We also got a brief listing that popped up on the UK retailer Shopto's website for Prey VR.
Ooh.
Apparently,
Is it a cup simulator?
Yeah.
Just transform into a cup.
Prey is Bethesda. Bethesda loves to put everything on VR because they can't think of anything else to do. It makes sense to me, and it kind of sounds like a good idea. Like if you've got to if those little jumpy bastards you're like walking around in VR and then a cup turns into a fucking space spider and jumps out into your face. Like, that's
a great idea, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's a game that I actually would like to play on VR.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it would make a good VR game. Let's see. We also have a bunch of EA games that are now on Steam.
Ooh.
So Origin is hashtag Origin is over party, which is just nothing but K-pop stands. And yeah, apparently Dragon Age 2, Crysis 3, Need for Speed, Heat, Plants vs. Zombies, Battlefield Neighborville, Need for Speed Rivals, Need for Speed, Unravel, Sea of Solitude, Dragon Age Inquisition, Unravel 2, and Mirror's Edge Catalyst, are all on Steam.
A lot of Need for Speeds there.
Yep. Dragon Age 2 and 3, that's pretty big, right?
Yeah. Crysis 3.
Crysis 3, yep.
And Mirror's Edge Catalyst. People really... God, Mirror's Edge was such a weird thing where everybody's like, we want another Mirror's Edge. And then...
Here.
They finally did.
Not that one.
Then they're like, yeah, no, not like that. It's like, well, what the... Okay, fine.
Yep.
I don't know. Those poor guys.
Yep. But apparently they're going to be bringing more on, and EA Access is also going to be functional on Steam. So the discounts and the free games and stuff will be functional on Steam, which is very interesting because, think about the stories that I just told you about how EA decided that they were going to put on their big boy pants and fight Steam for 5 years, and it's been a colossal fucking failure that everybody hates. Like you just install EA Origin to play The Sims 4 and then fucking uninstall it when you're done. And yet the Epic Game Store is just like gaining ground. So
it's what they're offering is really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what they're not offering. That's this Xbox 360 Avengers game we got some new footage of this week.
I'm so upset this was canceled still.
Yeah.
Even to this day.
What the hell? Oh, okay. Yeah, apparently this was like a hard drive that somebody got that had like a beta build on it.
I love shit like when people find shit like that though.
Yeah, of this Avengers like 4-player multiplayer game, or like multiplayer and maybe like AI bot single player. I kind of vaguely remember this. Not a lot, but
it came out that they were doing this during the when THQ finally went out of business, and there was like somebody had footage of like of this like sequence of like them in New York or something, jumping into the scroll ship, fighting a bunch of super scrolls kind of thing, and it looked like a lot of fun, but they went bankrupt before they ever got close to finishing this thing.
Here's the question, Michael. Would you rather play this or that new Avengers game that you
I'd
hate
rather
so
play
much?
this, personally.
That was just a setup to let you crap on.
Well, because
the
here's
new
the
Avengers
reason.
game.
Because I know what it looks like.
Yeah. Because you've seen gameplay of it?
Yeah, I've seen actual gameplay of what this game looks like. And I like the idea of it a lot still.
Yeah.
And then, the new one has that kind of idea of a 4-player synchronous thing. But I really like this first-person thing because I just thought it was really cool looking.
Yeah.
Especially with Iron Man and I think with Cap's shield stuff, and it just looked like a lot of fun. And I like and it has a story that was Secret Invasion inspired.
Mm-hmm.
That was apparently was supposed to be about. And my issue with the new one is that it's just even its story just sounds depressing as hell, kind of thing. Like everything about that game just is depressing me, kind of thing. Especially and their designs, like God, and this one just looks like it would have been really fun and it had a good idea. But yeah, it's a shame. The whole thing was canceled.
I agree. And we're going to leave it there. Let's see. Let's jump through a few trailers. We got a trailer for Elite Dangerous Odyssey where you're going to be able to get out of your ship and go and shoot people on a planet, land on a planet, and shoot people in Elite Dangerous.
Neat.
I'm gonna have to play Elite Dangerous one of these days. It's like Elite Dangerous is my new Kerbal Space Program where it's too complicated and I don't want to fucking play it. And then one of these days I'm gonna go spend $200 on a fucking. You're gonna come in here with one of those giant flight sticks with a throttle, and I'm gonna be like, I've been playing it for 2 days straight. I
don't need to go outside. The space is my home now.
Yeah, but it looks pretty good. And it also, fuck you, Star Citizen.
Fucking Star Citizen.
We got a trailer for Necromunda Underhive Wars, which is a Warhammer 40K game set on like these weird gangs on the underbelly of like the planet. It's really strange. It's kind of like the Warriors, but in Warhammer 40K.
Yeah, it's a fascinating look at a side of Warhammer that doesn't really get mentioned at all.
Yeah, and apparently it's at least being published by Focus, which is like, who knows. Roll the dice, roll the focus dice.
Yeah.
Consult your table, and maybe it's a good game, maybe it's bad. This trailer has a lot of like story in it, which I like. I hope it's not just like Gotham City imposters.
Yeah, no, I thought that too when watching this trailer. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought about that.
Yep,
because that was a clusterfuck.
Yeah, it was. And then, hey, Konami still makes games. Not really, sort of.
Question mark.
Yeah, Skeletak came out this week from Konami, which is like just a weird side-scrolling skeleton game that somebody else made.
Yeah, and Konami was willing to come out with, which is weird as shit.
This is the first new Konami game since, like, what, PES or what was before that? What's the last thing they shat on game-wise, right? Well, because Metal Gear Survive was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Was
there anything after that?
I don't know.
Shit, all I know is they kept making re-releases of everything.
Contra, that Contra game.
Oh, the Contra?
That shitty Contra game that came out earlier.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Shit.
The Contra game where your gun overheats.
Yeah, fuck that game.
So this doesn't look too offensive, but I'm not playing it because fuck you, Konami. Like I don't know. Like
it looks adorable.
It's all right.
That's really all I can say about it.
I got a lot of other games to play, so nah. One of the games that I've been playing is Minecraft Dungeons, and apparently we're getting a new Minecraft Dungeons DLC in July, which is pretty early for a game that came out like a week and a half ago.
It is kind of surprising.
Yep. So there's going to be a new biome that's like jungle. I played all of Minecraft Dungeons. I played every single level on every single difficulty, and I unlocked everything in that game. So, like, part of me wants to be all shitty and dismissive about Minecraft. Just like, it's for babies. I'm like, you played all of it. You played the game 3 times over again. Like,
yeah, I came over and you were still playing it last time.
Yeah. I only stopped because I got everything. Because I was like, well, I've only got 3 things left to do, and then I can have everything, and I'm going to be done. So
it says it's got cross-platform coming with it, though.
Yep, there's going to be some cross-platform stuff coming, too. We're also going to be getting a new Super Lucky's Tale soon, which I don't know a lot of people who know Super Lucky's Tale. Started out as an Oculus, like kind of Sonic the Hedgehog platformer, but you were like looking at it in VR, and then came out on the Xbox One and a few other places. And the PC is just like a straight up kind of Mario 64 side scroller kind of thing. Not 64, more like Super Mario 3D World ish.
I can see that.
So yeah, there's going to be a new Super Lucky's Tale. It's probably going to be coming out sometime this summer.
Good for them.
Also, this month we're going to be seeing the Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC. The first one, which is the Armor Island. Is that what it is? Island of Armor. Isle of Armor. That's it. Which will be coming out very soon, June 17th.
Okay.
So
good for them.
Get your Pokemons. Also, sometime this summer, we're getting a new Goosebumps game. Goosebumps.
Oh, Goosebumps.
Sorry.
I was like, I have no idea what you just said.
Ermagerd.
I thought you were having a stroke.
Yeah, I'm old internet over here. So yeah, Goosebumps Night, Dead of the Night is going to be a whole thing.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I never get into the Goosebumps because I was a little old for that.
I was a big fan of it, but I was the right age for that. And there was an episode with Adam West in it, so.
Oh right, I keep thinking of the books, but then there was a TV show too.
A TV show, yeah.
I always get the TV show confused with Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Which is fair, but Are You Afraid of the Dark was fucking weird.
All right, and now for some fun stuff. So, Michael, do you remember the this little handheld console? It's called the Playdate, and the whole thing about it was it's a black and white handheld that kind of looks like an old Game Boy, and it's got a crank on the side. And the crank isn't like to power it or anything. It's just like a way to do new things with video games with this crank on the side of a thing. Well, apparently one of the guys that is making it got it working. He got a version of Doom working, and when you crank the crank, it makes the minigun go around.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
It's pretty fun. This thing still isn't out yet. Like you can pre-order them, but it's not out yet. But I was just like, oh, that's nifty. That's pretty sweet.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah. What else is pretty sweet is apparently, I don't really know what's going to happen here, Michael, but there was a PC port of Mario 64 that was kind of like released underground to people. And the modders have already got at it, and they've already made Mario look like 10 times better than he did in the original Super Mario 64.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, it appears that the modders may be trying to get Super Mario 64 remastered, but what occurred to me, Michael, was I thought Nintendo was going to do this like a month ago.
Yeah, I thought the rumor was that they were actually going to outright do this.
I think it is, but because this isn't like a group, this isn't one of those things where it's like, yes, our group, Nintendo Modders, is putting out this Mario 64 port. It's just a bunch of fucking hackers and shit doing this. That Nintendo, put it out soon.
Yeah.
Like they're going to finish it before you put it out.
They're going to make a really fun little Mario game there.
Yeah. And it looks really good. Like the Mario that they've put in here looks really good in comparison to the old Mario. So
this is so weird.
It's very strange. Oh, that's not weird, Michael. If you want to see weird, you got to check out these fucking Mario and Luigi mechs that are coming. So there's a Singapore artist named Clog2, and he's making these gigantic. He has these sets. It costs like $135 for both of these, which is why I won't get them. But they're like these gigantic. They remind me of Hard Boiled. Jeff John. No, not Jeff Johns. Who's the guy? It did Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot.
Frank Miller?
And Hard Boiled, not the writer, the artist.
Had all that. I don't know the guy's name, but I know what you're talking about.
Had all of that like super intricate panel work.
Yeah, that dude was fucking great.
Like that's what it reminds me
of.
That
Big Guy comic is so fucking well done.
It's also very bizarre.
Oh, super bizarre.
But yeah, if you look really close, if you like zoom in really close, you can see that the Mario and Luigi are controlling their mechs with switches.
That's awesome.
So yeah, if this wasn't $135 for two pieces of paper, I know it's art, and trust me.
Well, they might be kind of big too. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how big these things are.
But they're pretty cool. I just don't know if I should maybe get some other like regular things on my walls before I start specializing in Mario and Luigi mechs.
You can buy those. People are making like super artistic paints of like just Counter-Strike areas to make them look like normal. Like
hotel art?
Yeah, like they look like hotel art, but they're just like Counter-Strike areas. Nice. So somebody could be like, oh, that's a nice like looking area. It's like, oh yeah, it's great. But never have to say it's nerdy kind of thing.
Yeah. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to answer some questions. So everybody stick around, and we will talk to you in a moment. ready for questions?
Yes.
Okay, well, our first question this week actually comes in from Discord because we need to talk about Patreon for just a minute.
Sure.
Karatana writes in and says, "Hey, Jeff, I just got an email from Patreon announcing they will start collecting sales tax on certain types of pledges. How does this affect Rage Select? Thanks, Will." Well, Will, I've talked about this in videos, but I do know there are some people that only listen to the podcast, and they don't actually watch all the videos.
Oh, okay.
Because we put out roughly 1 billion videos every week.
That's true.
And it's too many videos. It's too many videos for any one person to watch. So here's the thing. Near as I can tell, sometime, I remember hearing rumblings of this last year, a lot of states in the United States were like, we're tired of not getting sales tax for digital purchases of things. So like, if you buy a Gatorade at the convenience store, then you pay sales tax and the state gets tax. But if you buy Netflix, then your state doesn't get jack shit. And they were like, boo. And everybody online was like, nah, we don't like that. But, so they went ahead and passed a bunch of things that mean that now digital goods can be taxed.
Oh, wow.
And what this means is that certain things that you get off of Patreon, depending on the state that you live in, will be taxed. Now, the good news is that we don't really do much in the way of rewards. The Discord access technically can be taxed, but it's like on the lower end. It's like one of the things that Patreon has this really obscure chart, or not obscure, vague chart that's like might be taxed, probably won't be, could be, question mark. Like they seem really confused by this.
Oh, okay.
The nice thing is that because I don't like post stuff on my Patreon that is like patrons only, I've been like remiss in actually, because I send out this fucking giant email every week and completely bypass the entire Patreon system. Chances are that the chances of people getting taxed is very low. But some states, even the act of supporting a post on Patreon will end up getting taxed. So here's the thing. Here are the things that you should know. One, Patreon makes it very clear. I can't say to Patreon, I will pay your tax, because it's not technically legal for like me to pay your state income tax or whatever. So I can't eat that. I can't just eat because I would. I mean, if I could hit a switch, and if you pay us $5, I want you to pay us $5, not like $5.10 or some stupid shit like that. As I said last time, it would probably be, I always think the best way to set up your Patreon is like, if you want to give me $20 a month, right?
Yeah.
I find that the best way to do that is $20 per post with a $20 maximum, so that the very first post you are charged one time for one post, as opposed to say like $1 on every post with a $20 limit, right? Because then if you end up in this tax segment, each individual time you're charged $1, you are also charged tax on top of that. So, and I mean, technically it should be the same, right? Like if you've charged like a 0.1% tax on $1 20 times as opposed to 0.1% on $20 one time, it should be the same. But I always think that it's easier just to say, I'm going to give you X amount per month. Just make sure that you set the upper limit, because there have been a few points where people have pledged to Rage Select and not set an upper limit. They've been like, I'm going to give you $20 a month. And then they just ended up getting us $20 a post for like 28 posts in a month. And then it's like, oh, shit. So
we do a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I post every video as a Patreon thing because that was the way that we had it set up originally. So step one, I can't eat the tax. I think the only way to do this is going to be, you're going to have to look and see what happens. And if you need to adjust your pledge accordingly, please do so. And if you need to cancel it, please do so. Like, I'd rather you not, but I want you to be comfortable supporting Rage Select first and foremost. So, and for anybody who's not, patreon.com/Rage Select, you
can be on the Discord.
Yeah, you can jump on the Discord with us and talk about, somebody just made, apparently, I forgot when we mentioned it, but Chris and I made up Nuggos, which is nuggets and nugget nachos, where instead of chips you have chicken nuggets. And so somebody on the Discord went to Wendy's and bought because they've got that stupidly cheap nugget deal, and they bought a bunch of chicken nuggets and then put ground beef and cheese and stuff on top of
them. Oh my
God. So
what did they say it was like?
They said, I mean, it was got to be great, right? It's just like chicken with beef and cheese and shit on top of it. So
I don't know. I could go either way.
I don't know.
Especially with that many Wendy's nuggets.
Well, yeah, I mean, but most people's Most people's stomachs are not as weak as mine, so
I guess that's true.
All right, so let's do some actual email questions, then we'll come back to Discord a little later. Jose Luis writes in and says, "Hello, Rage Select crew. As someone with a transplant and therefore a weakened immune system, looks like I won't be venturing out into the outside world for quite a while. Much of my time has been spent playing video games, listening to spooky stories, as well as various podcasts, such as the Rage Select podcast. So my question is, what games would you recommend for podcast listening? I'm thinking of games where you can interact with the world while your mind is focused on other things. Right now, I've mainly been listening to shows while trying random P-Cross games and Animal Crossing. And as a bonus random side question, what kind of tricks can your dog do? I only ask because my family recently got a Yorkie pup. On a serious note, thanks for all the entertainment you bring. The podcast has helped me feel good in this current time, and I appreciate all the time and effort you put into it. Keep raging on. And that's from Jose Luis. Well, thank you very much for the kind words. Good games to play while you're like listening to a podcast.
I used to do that with Monster Hunter because with
Okay.
Monster Hunter you can walk around, gather resources, and fighting a monster doesn't involve like listening to the roars or anything really.
Yeah.
Just pay attention. It's like playing Punch Out. You don't actually have to look, or you don't have to hear the noise to react to it, kind of thing. You just have to look at what's going on to react to it.
Yeah.
And so you can just listen to whatever while doing that. Also, a lot of open world games are also like that. You could just fucking like Grand Theft Auto. You can just drive around and do random shit while
True.
listening to things. Spider-Man.
That can be a little bit of a double-edged sword because I was just thinking about how I was trying to play Xenoblade Chronicles, the re-release of that, and I was like watching YouTube videos at the same time, and I kept having to stop the YouTube videos because there was some story every fucking like.
Well, I don't mean like do story stuff in the middle of it. Like just,
Sure.
Like because there were times where I would just drive around in Grand Theft Auto and just do random shit. Like once a story beat happens, then sure, pause whatever you're listening to, and then stop. Like if you're doing it for the story, then you probably shouldn't be listening to your podcast during it.
True.
But like it's more just like just to fuck around while, because a lot of open world games just have the ability to fuck around. Kind of thing. Like you can start playing Far Cry, for instance, and just put on a headset, like put your headphones on, and just start liberating everything in your area.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
I
have to get the story for some of these areas.
It's funny because I wasn't like
No,
coming at you or anything.
No,
They're
I'm just explaining like if you're gonna do one of the games I mentioned, like if you're doing the story, then like pause whatever you're doing is why I mentioned it, not because you're
I think that like my first instinct was like an RPG because RPGs are usually so long that you could just do that. But like I was just thinking of, Final Fantasy VII has so many goddamn cutscenes that I feel like you'd be pausing your podcast every 20 minutes to watch a 10-minute cutscene, and then
it was easier back in like older RPGs because the cutscene wasn't that long, and B, there was just random battles all the time.
Yes,
kind of thing. But yeah,
I would say, I think I did a lot of that when I was playing I think that's the reason I played Minecraft Dungeons all the way.
Oh, okay.
Was because it was easy to just drop into a level and then, because, there's no real story going on there.
No.
There is, but not enough to really care. So, I think something like that. I think like OG Minecraft would be great for that.
Oh, yeah.
Because
it would be fantastic for that.
You just kind of walking around doing stuff, right? Like,
same with like any kind of builder, kind of like that, like City Skylines, The Sims, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my roommate does. Actually, he plays Sims 4 and just listens to some of his weird Cleveland podcast or whatever.
Okay. What about all the drama that your Sims are getting? You got to pause your podcast. Be like, oh my god,
he just builds, like a lot of times he'll just build the stuff while listening to them, and then once you actually have Sims, then eventually you don't have to, kind of thing. There's a lot of building. Yeah,
Kerbal Space Program is very good for that.
That's another good example
because you're basically just building stuff as opposed to like doing a story. And like a lot of the stuff that you're doing is inside of your head, so it's not like you have to listen to anything. You're just like, I have to figure out how to get to Jewel. What's the other one? Man, I was just thinking of another one that was like that. Something that I felt like didn't. Come on, it just slipped out of my head. Cleveland podcast, Minecraft, Kerbal Space Program. Oh, Dark Souls doesn't have a lot of. It doesn't have a lot of. I know.
I guess that's true. Yeah,
I know, but it doesn't have a lot of story. I can even say something like Doom 2016, like is a lot of ripping and tearing.
Well, it's if
not
you're
a lot of like.
Yeah, that's if you're really just like. 'Cause there's a lot of games that you can play afterwards and just listen to stuff with. And shooters are really good about that.
Yeah.
Especially games that you've already played. Like, I can do that with Halo pretty easily.
Yeah.
Same with, like you mentioned, Doom, and probably even some of the... Not Bioshock, because Bioshock has this very... You have to kind of hear what's about to attack you a lot of the times. Kind of thing. Especially the big daddies. because to know where there are kind of thing.
You can feel that in the vibration.
I guess that's true,
Doom,
but
doom, doom.
there's a lot of games like that. There's that Jurassic Park game that came out not too long ago. That
the park builder thing.
Park builder.
Yeah,
it's another one that you could probably do.
Yeah, I think
a lot of builders,
a lot of games that would work well for that. Anything that has like a really repetitive cycle. I feel like Outer Wilds would work well for that.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're just doing things over and over and over again.
And some of the old Fallout games, probably you could do that with pretty easily as well.
Yeah.
Skyrim, too, pretty easily.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, basically, like I said, with open world games that you can just dick around in, super easy to do. Like the Just Cause games, hell, the Saints Row games, kind of thing.
As long as it's not super story heavy, because I was just thinking, like, Yakuza? And I'm like, no, you got to pay attention to Yakuza.
No, yeah, there's some games you have to pay attention on.
I mean, you're like, I'm just going to run from here to here. And then it's like, yes. And then there's going to be a big cutscene. And it's like, I'm just going to run from here to here. Yes. And then there's going to be a big cutscene.
Yeah,
you know what? I think RE would work for that. Like, the story beats in a lot of RE games are infrequent as you're just, like, wandering around trying to get stuff and going between places. Like, RE2 had a lot of just, like, wandering from place to place or trying to get from a place to another place.
Yeah, that could definitely be doable in those. Some games that are horror based, like whether or not you want to, mess with their inversion or not. What's the word I'm looking for? Immersion.
Yeah,
the kind of thing. It's up to you on those. Like Dead Space, you could do that really easily with too if you're not super focused on immersion.
Yeah,
kind of thing. I tend to recommend just a lot of stuff that involve getting resources because resources gathering is very peaceful while you're just listening to something.
Yeah,
and you can just do it for hours.
Anything that's not super story based, I feel like is kind of where I'm landing on this. Anything that's not like super story driven would probably work for that. Yeah,
I can see like too for Dauntless is free to play. It's like Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah,
you do something like that for a while.
Yeah, MMOs. That's
MMOs.
What was the other one? What kind of tricks can my dog do? Oh, my dog can sit and lay down and half roll over and shake, and that's what he can do.
My dog can run towards the door if I say I'm probably going to go to the balcony. That's about it.
Okay.
Or also, he tends to listen to only me. Is the other thing. So if I'm like, I'm going to go to sleep, and then he'll just run in my room and then lay down on my bed, kind of thing. But other than that, yeah, he doesn't really have any specific tricks, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Other than like if I'm eating, he knows what I'm eating. he's there waiting for me.
Oh, that's right. My dog also knows fuck off. When you talk about eating, that was like one of the very first things that we did was when I first got him, he used to come and like just like stare at me when I was eating. And so he learned fuck off. And then he would go and like lay down somewhere else. And I was just like, do not sit here and beg for food because I'm not going to give any to you.
I need to take my dog. I'm going to take my dog to the trimmer on Wednesday because he's getting too shaggy.
Yeah.
Like, I look at him, one of his ears just like has fur like super far down and the other one doesn't, and it just looks really weird.
I never want anything but a short-haired dog for the rest of my life. Like,
I got lucky because my dog isn't like his sister, which Amanda and John have.
Yeah.
Where that dog, that kind of fur you have to consistently kind of trim if you don't want it to get too shaggy.
Yeah.
With him, I just do it once a year essentially because he's a long-haired dachshund.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So it doesn't get in his eyes. It's just gets really long. Like he looks like a broom eventually. But like one of those like normal brooms, not like his tail could used to be a broom something because of the way the length works. Where instead of like his hair getting in his face and him getting super puffy, I don't have to worry about that. Luckily.
I used to watch my friend had a Great Pyrenees, and then he always used to send me pictures of like when it came time to pull her winter coat off and like what was left on the floor as the winter coat was removed. It was just like, oh my God, no, sir.
Yep. Luckily he's not like that. Luckily.
Let's see. Mark says, "Sup guys, Mark here with another question. I've been packing where I work at because we are moving to a new building, so all the employees have to help out these past 5 days and have been hell since we get here at 8 and leave at 7. Oh, geez, like an 11-hour shift. So that got me leading to this. What is the most tiring thing that you've ever done? And it could be either trying to do an achievement for a video game, do a movie marathon, or just catch up on a thing. It could be anything. What was the most tiresome thing you've ever done? Thanks. And that's from Mark.
Oh, I definitely have an answer for this.
Okay.
So when I worked retail, I did stocking mostly for the most part for most of the places I worked for, specifically Target. Have you ever tried emptying out a truck for stocking,
Yes.
that shit is super tiring. And especially in Texas heat, because that's the thing is like it was really hot in there. And there's like a fan that they point at it. But like with the further down you get into the truck, the harder that fan is to actually reach you.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sweating immensely and sweat was in my eyes. And it was just, I thought I was going to pass out because it was just so fucking tiring. And my arms were just super sore the whole time.
Last time I did that was I worked for the Container Store for a summer when I was like 17, and it was like a summer job where I did carry out, which was great because I got to put a bunch of desks and shit into like SUVs, like fucking Karen's SUV and shit.
Oh, okay.
And then I moved over to the unloading the truck. But the thing is that because it was Texas, the truck came at like 5 a.m. So it was like between 5 and 9 before it got like ridiculous in the summertime. I would do that. It was pretty exhausting, but I feel like that was back when I was young and spry and like not too bad. And I was thinking later I got to work at this place where we did like server stuff. And so we would get in like pallets of servers and then have to like take the servers in and unpackage them and put them on reels and put them in places. That was pretty difficult. But in all honesty, when I read this question, the thing that came up that was probably one of the most exhausting things I've ever done in my entire life was the fundraiser at Spill to go to E3.
Oh, yeah.
The 12-hour marathon that Jason and I did over at Chris's place. And I was just like, I drank like 8 Red Bulls over the course of that.
Oh, damn.
Because the thing is that we were doing like 1 hour on, 1 hour off. And like, you know, this was like super pumped up. I never like held anything back. And it was also very stressful because we were trying to do this fundraiser and no idea what was going on. I always find live stuff to be very exhausting.
That was tough.
And we did like a 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. or something like that.
You guys were at it for a while.
We did 12 hours, and then I went home and just fucking like fell over. It was also one of those things though where once you got done, you were exhausted, but I was super amped because we hit our fundraiser goal to go to E3, and I was just like, if I get to go to E3, I gotta go to sleep, but I've had 8 Red Bulls, but I'm fucking exhausted. I don't know what to do.
The other thing that would be, I was in JROTC in high school.
Yeah.
And I had to go to something called leadership school, which they did in San Angelo. And for the most part, it was basically working out fucking for like a week straight.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, and then you learn some stuff about leadership in the middle of it. That shit was exhausting. And at one point, I was the person in charge of my little squad that they had, because originally I wasn't, but the person they were originally going to do it with, they're like, I don't think he's leadershipy enough. And then they like you, and I was like, and then I was apparently really good at it, is what they said. But the problem was, since I was the leader guy, I had to work out more than everybody else did, because if one of them got in trouble, I had to work out. I had a thing. And that was when I was in really, really good shape. But so I could do like 30 push-ups without too much issue. But the issue is I had to do that like every day.
Yeah.
For like a week straight with San Angelo water, which if you've ever had San Angelo water, that shit is gross because it's just full of minerals and shit because they get it from like the lake or something nearby. Mm-hmm. They don't filter it all that well. And it gets worse the more you drink it.
Hard water.
It's it was such a pain in the ass.
I went to school in Pflugerville. They had that same thing. The water up there was fucking undrinkable.
Yeah,
so gross.
And we had to drink like a cup of it like every day.
Yeah.
And I tricked them because what it was is that you could also get a cup of Powerade. So what I did was I got the Powerade in the clear cup and I got the water in the blue cup. So it made it look like it was the opposite. All I had to do was drink the shit out of the Powerade to make sure there was nothing left. So that was the only way I was able to get out of that sequence.
I see. When you told me, I thought it was more just like, all right, everybody drink, and then you just throw it over your shoulder, and you're like, nom, 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 nom.
It was like as big as your coffee cup, basically. Like of that much
72
water.
ounces.
Yeah, I had to drink that much every single time kind of thing. And it was exhausting. My legs were killing me for like a month straight.
Okay.
It was nuts.
I feel bad because all of your stories are like actual things that people should be exhausted by. Because I was thinking of the other time that I was really exhausted, and that was when we went to E3.
Oh, okay.
I like spent the entire day walking around, and then every night we would come back and do we would do a like daily podcast of all the stuff that we saw. And it was funny because Jason got tired, and like the minute that I walked into the LA Convention Center, it was like I had the stamina of a young man who was in the prime of his life, because I was just like, it was like fucking video game Disney
It's
World.
true,
like
yeah.
I was just like, I want to see all of this. I want to see that. I want to see that. I want to see that. walking because there's 2 halls. You got to walk back and forth between the 2 halls, spend it all day, and just doing it.
Well, that happened to me with when I went to RTX for one of us.
Oh, yeah.
The first time I did, I was like, I have all the stamina. And then the next year I went, I was like, oh, my God. And then the year after that, I was just like, oh, my legs hurt so bad.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Next up on the list, Chris writes in and says, hey, Jeff and Michael, a couple of podcasts ago, you mentioned how you were a little kid shooting guns and you did bad because you couldn't see the targets, and that's when you realized you needed glasses. But the worst part is when the former Army guy started getting mad at you because you were missing the shots even though you were just a kid. Well, Jeff, I'm here to say don't feel bad. I feel your pain. I'm in the National Guard, and every year I have to qualify with my M4 rifle. We go to the range, zero the rifle, then qualify by shooting pop-up targets at various ranges, and you must get at least 23 out of 40. Sounds easy, right? Well, not for me. I've been in the National Guard 7 years now, and every single time I dread shooting. Why? Because every single time I'm always the last one to qualify. The last one to zero and qualify. Everyone is waiting on me to finally finish. The last time was so bad they finally just had me shoot at paper targets. Then they gave me an extra 10 rounds, and they were like, just shoot the ones you can hit.
Jesus.
Long story short, Jeff, I feel you when you said you can't do something that seems like it's easy for everyone else. Any other examples of your struggles or failures you'd like to share? JK, I also can't blow chewing gum bubbles. I suck, but I did beat the Evil Within 2 on classic difficulty, so there's that. From Chris, P.S. Have you ever watched the anime Parasite on Netflix? It's weird but interesting. That would be Parasite the Maxim, which has been out for a while on a lot of other
it's
platforms.
been out for a good chunk.
It's very good. It's very good. Have you ever watched it?
I watched the first couple of them. I really liked it, but I never got back to it.
Yeah, where the guy's got the hand that talks to him. And
I thought it was really cool, but
really
then,
bizarre.
For some reason, I just never finished it.
Yeah. I recommended it to Jason because I felt like it had some Spider-Man-y vibes
I can
to
see
it.
that.
Anything that you're like strangely bad at, or
Well, I've told you I can't ride I can't ride a bike.
Okay.
B, I can't swim.
Okay.
3, I can't whistle. 4, I can't shoot, because one time I went hunting when I was 15 and I had this Winchester 30-30 that was my dad's, and we were hunting, and there was a shit ton of hogs like in this little cluster, and I missed every single one of them.
Would you say it was between 30 to 50 feral hogs?
Kind of, actually. There's quite a few of them.
That appeared in your yard in 2 minutes?
But I would have never survived them, basically. But yeah, I fired and I missed all of them. And it was like a giant group of them, and I was like, wow, I feel awful.
Shooting a gun is hard.
It's very difficult. And one of the issues is that the way I learned some of the things I do is I learned from watching my dad. My dad's left-handed, which I didn't realize for some reason.
Yeah.
So there are certain things I've done where I'm left-handed, and certain things I do when I'm right-handed. Mm-hmm. When I shoot, I try doing left-handed because the way I aim is you have
a dominant eye.
I have a specific dominant eye that is more dominant for one of my hands, but the problem is I still can't do it very well.
Yeah.
And so I just couldn't fucking do it. It was a pain in the ass. I know there's another thing, but I can't for the life of me remember it off the top of my head.
I'm really bad at talking to women. That's what I'm.
I guess that's number 5 then. For me, that's
I
number 5
can shoot
as well.
a gun. I can whistle. I can blow bubbles, but I don't think I can ride a bike anymore. I haven't tried in 10 years, but last time I tried, I used to when I was a kid, man, I used to ride my bike everywhere, and then I got a pair of rollerblades because it was the 90s, so I rollerbladed everywhere.
I also can't rollerblade.
Everybody can rollerblade. You just got to stand on them and go forward.
No, I was terrible at it. I learned how to blow a bubble eventually, and I learned how to snap my fingers, because I used to not be able to snap my fingers.
Oh. Which way did you learn? All like the sandwich or like 2?
This one. The 2, I think.
Oh, you're using like your middle finger?
Yeah.
Wait, that's it. That's what you do. I forgot how to snap now. I can't snap anymore. That's what happened.
It took me a long time to figure out how to snap my hands, because I was always jealous of people with the Addams Family theme when they'll do that. I was like, I can't do it. I can't. And then when I learned it, I did it for like a week straight.
I used to blow a lot more smoke rings. I can blow smoke rings with my cigarette smoke.
You told me that one time.
There's a whole thing about when my friend was like, look, I learned how to blow smoke rings. And I was like, so? I could learn how to do that. They're like, well, then do it, dumbo. And I was like, all right. So I did. I just smoked an entire pack of cigarettes until I figured it out. And I was just like, all right, look, super easy.
Take that, cancer.
Yeah. I mean, like, this is shitty teenager Jeff. Also, I should say that the person that I did that to was a lady friend of mine that I'd known for quite a while that was like dating my best friend, and she was just like, "Look what I do." I was like, "Anybody can do that."
Fuck you, I can do whatever.
What are you? Oh, a girl can do it. I can do that. And she's like, "Well, then do it." I'm like, "Well, then okay."
I'm also really bad at RTS games. I'm really bad at those games.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Racing games don't make any sense to me.
I'm gotten better as time has gone on.
Yeah.
Like now that I know how to drive stick shift, I've gotten a little better at it because I can actually like know the exact time frames to do stuff. But I'm still not super great at them.
It's just a lot of it is for me is that I actually know. I used to, one of my old friends used to be this big gearhead, and I remember when we got Gran Turismo on the PSX, and then I learned how to play it because everybody was playing it. I wanted to be cool like all the other kids because they jumped off a cliff. I would totally jump off a cliff. And so I learned, like, you know, the line and like slowing down and like cornering and doing stuff like that. So I know it. I just think it's super fucking boring to drive a car like that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you know, I think it's the reason a lot of people would probably think it's super fucking boring to play. Say it with me, folks. Kerbal Space Program, because the thing is that like you can't just launch a rocket however you want to.
Yeah.
You need to like know where you're going, know how to do it, know how to turn, know when to turn, like do things like that. And the idea of just like, well, everybody's driving the exact same way. It's just like, did you do it good enough to get the first place?
Yeah.
And like, look out, that guy's going to pass that other guy. Oh, he did it. And I'm like, eh.
Yeah, when I finally, because once I learned stick shift, I recently went to an arcade a while back, and like not super recent. It was like my niece's birthday or something, and we were there, and I finally tried one of those arcade driving ones that has a shifter on it.
Oh,
for the first time since I've learned to drive stick shift.
Yeah.
I finally made first place, like for the first time I've ever done one of those things because I knew what I was doing for once. Or every other time I did the automatic, and I would always get like third because it's like you said, like you just have to drive and somehow get there faster than them. Mm-hmm. But the automatics just wouldn't do it for some reason.
Sure.
But I can do it now, kind of. It's kind of neat.
Does it mean you need to get one of those PS4 fucking
yeah, maybe I'll just do that.
Big chair with a steering wheel and a gear shift and pedals and shit on it?
My brother had that for like those old Gran Turismo games because he knew stick shift before I did, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much for my. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that anymore. Think of other stuff I can't do. Can't bake. Can't.
You've gotten better at all that stuff, though.
Well, I could roast shit in the oven, but that's not bacon. I made bread like twice, but it was always bad. So I haven't ever made it and been like, oh my god, beautiful, wonderful. I would buy this from somebody. Ice skate. I can't ice skate.
Oh yeah, I tried doing that a few years back. In fact, it popped back up on my Facebook memories.
Yeah,
because my brother was dating an ice skater. And she's like, let's go ice skating. And there's like
Texas.
There's an ice skating ring here in Austin, actually.
Yeah,
which is where I went to, and I
Chaparral Ice
kept just falling on my ass, and my feet hurt real bad. And I was like, fuck all of this, and I just immediately sat back down.
Yep.
It's like I don't want to do this. This is stupid. Also, it's cold.
I can't repair a car. I also can't do that.
A lot of people can't though.
I can like change a tire, I fix a toilet. I can't repair a car.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I mean, this is going to be a really long podcast. We just sit here saying things that we can't do for a long time.
Can't wait left. I'm just kidding.
JP says, hey, Jeff and Michael, hope everything is going okay stateside. Straight to the questions. One, what are some of your favorite palate cleanser games? E.g., after playing a story-filled epic, what games would you play where the goal is just blowing up bad guys because of explosive reasons, or old favorites you replay because you know it inside and out, or do you prefer stepping away to read, etc.? Two, what are some of your favorite memories of Plan Jeff working in your favor, if applicable? I've been replaying XCOM 2 recently, and sometimes find that the tactical solution isn't working. The only viable option is to send anyone with explosives into the open so they can blow up anything with high armor or good cover. Levels of success vary. Yours, Distancefully, and that's from JP. So let's see. Palette cleanser games. Do you mean palette cleanser games?
I have a couple. Metal Gear Solid 1 used to be one of my palette cleansers because I have that game memorized like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
So I can plow through it within an afternoon. Halo 1, of course, and Halo 3 because those are pretty straightforward, and they don't end on cliffhangers.
Right.
There used to play fighting games sometimes that way. Used to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 a lot as a palate cleanser. Although it is hectic as hell, but I was a big fan of it. So yeah, those tend to be my main ones.
It's funny because the ones that I used to play, I ended up playing them all for a sequential, and so I don't play them anymore. Like BioShock was one of them, but after you and I finish BioShock, I'm probably just going to put BioShock away for a while.
Oh, okay.
Dark Souls used to be one, but I played so much fucking Dark Souls that I'm kind of Dark Soulsed out. I guess I've never played Fallout 3 on the channel, but I used to play the fuck out of Fallout 3. I have no interest in going back to Skyrim. I don't think Skyrim's a bad game, but like I'm just done with playing Skyrim. Like I don't want any more Skyrim in my life. Yeah, KSP is really the current thing that I play. When every 6 months I'll get an itch and I'll be like, I wonder if I can fucking orbitally dock, and then I'll be like, yes I can, and I can do a bunch of other stuff I couldn't do before. It's almost like I have to wait for the knowledge of my previous session with Kerbal Space Program to like settle in my brain and internalize, and then like 6 months later I can just be like, can I do things better now? Yes I can. But generally I don't do that. Generally I just move on to the next game. Like
I go back to games consistently. As you definitely know.
Yeah. Michael over here telling me about Halo and Batman and shit.
Yeah,
it's like,
I replay games consistently.
Man, I haven't played through Batman or Arkham Asylum in a while.
I think I did it last year.
Yeah,
but one of the reasons I'm like that is because as a kid, I always had like a very set of games. Like I didn't tend to get new games that often unless my brother got one.
Right.
So I got used to playing the same old things over and over again. Like Maximum Carnage is a game I played pretty much almost every day straight for like 15 years.
There's a lot of Super Nintendo games that I played a lot, but this was when I was a lot younger. Like, I beat Star Fox a million times. Super Metroid beat a million times. I mean, I could beat it in like 90 minutes. So,
Yeah.
I
believe you.
You should believe me.
That's on video somewhere.
Not that. I used to be able to do it, motherfucker. One of these days. The problem is that I've got to practice playing it now. Like I can't just go back to it.
Like, I have to practice Maximum Carnage now to get to the last level. I used to be able to do it all the time.
Yeah. But, now I know how to, like, calculate orbital mechanics, so that's better than beating Mother Brain in an hour and 90 minutes. Not hour and 30 minutes. Yeah. Whatever. Any planned Jeff stories that you've thought of? Where you just go in guns a-blazing and come out on top?
Army of Two was really good about that.
Okay.
Because I played the first Army of Two straight with my brother.
Yeah.
And we got to the last boss, and I was like, this is kind of difficult. I'm just going to bring a rocket launcher with me.
There you go.
And then we just rocket launched him, and he died immediately.
Every single Far Cry game, once I unlock everything, I stop trying to be sneaky about outposts, and I just basically go in with a heavy machine gun and a rocket launcher and all my armor and just kill everybody in like 30 seconds because
that sounds right.
I just put too many of those in there. You actually told the story, but I've got it as well about Assassin's Creed where you were just like, I'm just going to see how long it takes for this alarm to go away. And then the streets run red with the blood of Templars.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed is also really good about that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, Plan Jeff happens a lot in Assassin's Creed games. Because I'm bad at being the stealthy assassin.
Yeah.
Because like I'll walk in and be like, I have this whole plan laid out, and one dude like, there he is. I'm like, fuck, and then I just murder everybody. Also, Metal Gear Solid 3. Metal Gear Solid 3 is also Plaid Jeffed a lot for me.
I was going to say, there are a lot of Metal Gear games where, like, maybe the first time you go through normal and then, like, you get the bandana.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're just like, yeah, bitch! I don't have to hide it all anymore!
My favorite was in old Metal Gear Solid 1. This was only in the original one, is that there's, in the meter for your bullets, there's 3 bullets, or 3 or 4 bullets at the very end that are red. They're auto homing bullets.
Yeah.
So when you have the bandana, you just plow through them till you get to those 4 bullets, stick on your bandana, and you have infinite homing bullets.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I do that all the time.
Oh wow, I've never done that before.
It's funny. The way I learned it was this old demo disc that had like one of the things was like Secrets of Metal Gear Solid. Yeah. And I was like, oh, people don't know this, but if you do this, like basically what I just said, you have infinite homing bullets. It's like, do I now?
I can say that I've done a lot of Plan Jeffing in was not all of them, but in Grand Theft Auto 3, when it was the first came out, and it was like, and if you get 5 stars, you can jack a tank, and once you get the tank, you just fucking go to town.
You're the king of everything.
Yep. You just turn that turret behind you and shoot it to get the big turbo boost from you.
Those are the best. Let me tell you. Okay, yeah. There's another one in Vice City. There's a mission where you have to hit a guy with your car over and over again to make it look like an accident to kill him. I failed like every single time. I got so fed up, I used the cheat for a tank and just drove into him, and it counted it as looking like an accident, a tank running him over.
Nice. I would say that there is a certain tipping point in Saints Row 4 where that entire game is planned, Jeff.
Oh,
because,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, when you get the speed run where when you run, the cars are all going behind you and shit. Like,
so much fun.
You just jump on the top of anything. Like, yeah, that game is, like, fundamentally broken.
And it's the best.
It is. It very much is.
Saints Row 3 and 4 are amazing.
Also, you know what? I don't know if you've ever gotten to that point. You know, when a lot of Resident Evils, when you beat the game, you'll get like an infinite handgun, or like you can get like a rocket launcher or something.
In fact, with Resident Evil 2, you can actually just outright buy those as like a small add-on.
Yeah.
They'll just give it to you for your first playthrough if you wanted to.
Nice. And then you're just like, ha, Nemesis, who's big and scary now, you big dumb shit.
Just rocket launching them all
actually,
day.
Those one of the guys in the Watch Out for Fireballs podcast made a really good point about that, where he was like, so many of those Resident Evil unlocks, it's like if you can beat the game on the hardest difficulty level in less than 2 hours, then you get that. And it's like, well, if I do that, then I don't want the rocket launcher. I've bested your game, Capcom. Like, I want the rocket launcher so that after I beat the game, normally I can go back through and just be like, yeah, suck it, bitches. So, yeah, there we go. All right, this next one comes in from Bruno. Bruno says, hello there, Masters of Rage, Darkness, and Souls games. Bruno here with 2 Blizzard questions. So I bought StarCraft 2 when it came out in 2010 and played the shit out of it. Then let it be for long periods of time. Every now and then I booted up Battle.net to update it, etc. Did it again a few days ago and actually launched StarCraft. To my surprise, I had all the campaigns. If you remember, they sold the campaigns individually. So 3 $60 games for the price of one. I know it's been 10 years, but I like it. So question number 1, has a game or a company ever surprised you by with something for free? And no, you can't say Game Pass. And since I went down memory lane, I never played Diablo 3. So question 2, which Diablo 3 version would you recommend me to buy? The computer or the PlayStation? My computer isn't the best when it comes to video games, but I've always played Diablo on a PC, so I have no idea how it feels to play on consoles. Thanks for reading and your everyday awesomeness. And that's from Bruno. And it's got his phone number in case we want to call him.
That's interesting.
Well, some people just have like an auto signature, and you know.
Oh, that's probably what it is. Yeah.
So let's see. What was that? Has a gamer company ever surprised you with something free? I think so.
There's a lot of pre-orders that came with free stuff. In fact, recently I bought Quantum Break, and it came with Alan Wake and all that stuff for free.
Oh, there you go.
I remember buying Max Payne 3, and it came with Max Payne 1 for free at one point. Same with because a few of them are like that, where you'll buy a game and it comes with it whatever for free. It's funny because I think Injustice had an MK versus DC for free on one of them for some reason. And I almost bought it, and I was like, no, that's stupid. But, yeah, there's a few. I know Doom, like for instance, Doom Eternal has Doom 1 and 2 in it, technically.
Oh, the original Doom,
the original
1 and 2?
Doom 1 and 2.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I was actually thinking of when CD Projekt Red sent me The Witcher 2.
Yeah.
Like when they were like smaller still, they were just like, hey, do you run a fucking YouTube channel or something? Just be like, hey, I want The Witcher 2. And it was when they were releasing the 360 version of it, and they were really trying to like get it out there. And I remember just being like, this is when I worked at Spill, and I was like, I guess I'm press. And so I like sent it to them, and they were like, yeah, here you go. Here's a fucking video game. And I was like, what? Free video game? Holy shit. But CD Projekt Red is like kind of at the top of my list because the year before The Witcher 3 came out, when we went to E3, they were one of the few places that let me have like a behind closed doors demo for The Witcher 3. And like I went at 9 o'clock in the morning. I've told the story a bunch of times. And they had like all these like Austrian pastries and all of these like coffees and beer, Czechoslovakian, and then beer. And they were like, it was 9 a.m. and they're like, you want a pastry? You want a beer? And I was like, I'll take the pastry. It's a little early. And they were just like, glug. And then they gave me a tote bag with a Witcher 3 puzzle in it.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Yep, and I left it at E3 because I didn't want to carry a puzzle around all day.
Which is fair, yeah.
I mean, who wants to carry? I guess it's just a Witcher 3 puzzle. I'm sure that shit probably goes for like $800 on eBay at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it, it's funny because I know I've been talking a lot about E3 this podcast, but like going to E3 is so weird because like the companies there were like, we need these people to go out and say good things about our games. Let's be really nice to them. And I was like, oh my God, these game developers are letting me come play their games. I should be really nice to them. So like people would try to give me stuff and be really accommodating and be like, oh no, it's all right, man. Like, no, I just want to play Saints Row 4, before it comes out. They'd be like, yeah, here's a bag full of stuff. And I'd be like, you know what? You can keep, I don't even need a bag full of stuff. It's so cool that you're letting me in here. And they were like, well, are you going to write good stuff about it? I was like, oh, right.
Maybe.
I don't have a blog anymore. So, yeah. Let's see. I don't know. I feel like there's also some stuff. Steam is actually really good about like if you have bought game X, then when like they put out a remastered thing, it's like you get 50% off of the remaster or whatever.
Oh, I have a few answers, I guess.
Also, watch out. There's a dog down there now.
Halo Reach had a lot of just random shit it would give you if you were really in the Bungie stuff. Because Bungie had a website you could go to sign up, and like it would connect to your account. And one of them was if you played every Halo game online, including the original Halo PC game, it gave you this awesome. Well, you can get it now in the re-release in a different way, but it gave you this flaming blue head.
Okay.
And so what it was is that over your head it would just be blue flames. The only other people who had them were Bungie employees, and so it was one of those things. Only a few people we knew had it. It also caused people to think we worked for Bungie a bunch of times, which was really funny. Because one of my favorites was that a long time ago, people don't remember this, but there was a contest thing that Bungie was doing that if you ran into Bungie while playing Halo Reach and you won, they were going to send you a steak, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think eventually it turned out they never sent out any of them or something like that.
Okay.
Because of logistics or something. But me and my friends all had this thing because we were all really into Halo, and so. We were always this team of people with that, and people would either beat us because they were really good, or we would beat them, and people kept thinking we were Bungie. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna get the stakes," and they're like, "Oh, those dumb bastards."
I remember that. Like, I feel like a lot of developers used to do that a lot more, where there was like something in the multiplayer that you could only get by killing somebody who worked for the place, and then that would like propagate. That if you killed that person, then you would get it, or something like that. I'm gonna miss some of that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, one more question before we jump over to Discord. Vanish Knight says, hello, Jeff and Michael. It amazes me the amount of detail developers would put into oblivious assets, such as vending machines and snack items. They would usually make ripoff names of known brands. What made you pay attention to these assets? And what are some fun or interesting assets that you've seen in a game? Sincerely, Vanish Knight. I mean, you know that I'm just like always fascinated by the cola machines in a game.
Oh yeah, it's fascinating to see what they'll call something.
Yeah,
kind of thing. And
like it was just one of the first things, right? It was like, the world textures. I think it probably goes back to like Duke Nukem when there were like things in there that you would see in the real world. It wasn't Doom. Doom didn't have any vending machines in it, right?
Yeah. And there'd be like posters for things that you just were like, well, what are they going to come up with? Kind of thing. And sometimes there were things that were very similar to real world things. Sometimes they were just like weird ass versions of things.
Yeah. So as time has gone on, to make their game worlds feel more alive, like it used to be in a lot of old games, I remember they would have like it would look like a soda machine, but it would just be like kind of garbage, right? It'd just say like soda, and then it would have like a bunch of little things because you weren't supposed to really look at it. But then as time has gone on, there's like the way that say like in Resident Evil 3 that Aqua Cure is like a product that exists in Raccoon City, and so there's like posters for Aqua Cure that look like modern advertisements, and I'm just like, great, because it makes the world feel more lived in, but it's also fake, right? So
very fake.
Somebody had to make this shit. It's like I love the I love movie posters for fake movies that don't exist. Like, and especially if they're not references to other products that the developers made. I love it when they just come up with something completely original and then slap it on a movie poster, because it was like I could just think of being the artist that got to spend their afternoon just making up fake movies. Like, that sounds great. Like, one of the projects I did when I went to college for graphic design was I made a fake movie poster, and I based it on this thing that I drew when I was like a 4-year-old. There's a whole story behind that, but like I always love that stuff because you can't just throw some garbage in there, and it in order for Raccoon City to look like a real place, it has to look like a real place. As like Doom, like a little less so. Like some places a little less so, but I love it when places look like places, and I think that a lot of it is because coming up, video games were very abstract, and then suddenly when you played Duke Nukem 3D, you were like, oh, this is like a real place.
You're like, oh, this is like an actual Coca-Cola looking thing.
A movie theater and a strip club and like a trash can, and then there's these pig cops, and like, oh, it's not just like a demon. There's like a football field, and it's like, oh, that makes me feel like I'm in a place and not just trying to get through this labyrinth of doors.
One of my favorites is actually it's in the Arkham games, which is there's a soda just called Soda. And it's actually a reference to a gag in Superman the Animated Series, where there was one of the characters. The way he said soda was soda, and then they ended up using it in all their stuff after that. So, like, if you watch Justice League, there's like billboards for soda in it, kind of thing. And in Arkham, I think it's Arkham City, there's billboards for soda. You can see that I think machines for it too.
Oh, you know what game is super good at that whole thing? Dead Rising.
Oh yeah,
because it's a whole mall full of fake shit.
Yeah, covered in it,
and like stores full of fake shit. Like, yeah, I'm just fascinated by that stuff because
it's great because somebody has to make these things.
Yeah,
like it's not like because back in the day, like we were playing Halo 2 not too long ago, and we hit the button for old Halo 2, and it just said soda on it.
Yeah,
but now it's like this really intricate looking vending machine kind of thing on the remakes, and I love. Somebody's really excited to work on those, and I love those guys. And we see you. We see you guys.
Yeah. Well, that's the other reason that I love to look at them is because I feel like so many people play games. Like Amanda and I think it was 2 weeks ago when we were playing Doom Eternal, we came into this building, into this like ruined like little gift shop.
Yeah.
And there were all these like snack foods. And then we sat there and looked at every single one of them. And I feel like so often when people play these games, they just blast past those things. They're just like, oh, there's a bunch of snacks in there. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yes, like exactly what you said. I see you, guy who made all the fake snacks in Doom. I'm raiding all your fake snacks.
And they're full of, sometimes they have Easter eggs because the snacks in Doom Eternal, one of them is one of the guys, I think he's one of the directors. He used his face for one of the snacks.
Oh, okay.
And then there's the books in the room and the base in Doom Eternal. I love reading through all those fake titles that they have.
Yep, me too.
Those are great. I love them for that shit.
Yep. And I'm always especially impressed when you don't just end up with like repeats. Like there are very few games where you don't end up seeing the same book like 4 times on the same shelf. But like if you got like at least one shelf up and one shelf down different books, I'm like, okay. It was one of the things that made PT so interesting.
Oh yeah,
because it was just very much like this one hallway, and then you looked at it was just wrong, and then you like looked at it to be like, what is wrong about this?
Exactly.
And it was the chicken baby. That was what was wrong with it. Let's see. Neg Primer wrote in on the Discord and says, who is the best director that most people don't know their name? Someone whose work you love but is not a Spielberg, Ridley Scott, or Hitchcock. This is a kind of a hard one for me because I feel like a lot of the people that I used to know that I used to do the answer for have become famous.
That's the thing. Yeah.
I would say James Gunn, but people know who James Gunn is now. Or
exactly.
There's a time when Edgar Wright was very like indie.
That's true.
Or Ryan Johnson used to be a little bit more below the radar for most people. But
yeah, it's difficult nowadays because some of the people that we considered the lower end, a lot of comic book studios tend to look at those guys now, and they're like, "Hey, you." Make something for us, I think, especially Marvel. Marvel's really good at grabbing those people, and like Taika Waititi, he used to be that guy for me. I used to like with What We Do in the Shadows and all the stuff with Flight of the Conchords. Like I used to know his name, and then I think what was the Eagle versus Shark was another one that I really liked of his.
I've seen that. I watched half of Beasts of the Southern Wilds, or no, Hunt for the Wilder People.
Yeah, that was one of the other ones that he did. That honestly put him on other people's radars originally, because I knew him from Eagle vs. Shark and Flight of the Conchords. And then one day, that happened. People started looking at him, and then eventually, we all know what happened with Thor.
Right
now, everyone knows that guy's name.
Yeah,
kind of thing. It's difficult. Yeah, it's really much more difficult.
I feel like he broke pretty wide with What We Do in the Shadows. Like a lot of people, a lot of my friends were just like, "Fucking What We Do."
That's true.
What We Do in the Shadows. Oh my god. And,
well, that one and Hunt for the Wilder People. Those two movies are the ones that really got him on a lot of people's radars.
Yeah.
Before, after it was on my radar. The thing is, I knew his name only in passing And even then, I didn't completely know his name.
Right.
Kind of thing. Like, I knew of his movies, and I was like, oh, I really like that guy. And then when What We Do in the Shadows came out, I definitely knew his name. And then, yeah, Thor came out, and all the other stuff that he's been doing.
Jojo Rabbit.
Has done really well. Yeah, it's really difficult nowadays. Like, Phil Lord and Chris Miller were just like a little bit in the background for a bit, and then they got really big. The Russo brothers are the same way.
You know who's a big one for that, or at least I think is Del Toro.
Yeah,
used to be like really
perfect example.
Like over here, yeah.
He used to just be some dude who made these kind of like really interesting things that were kind of in the background of things. Mm-hmm. And then one day he made fucking Hellboy, and everyone was like, "Who's this guy?" Actually,
I think that Hellboy was still under the radar. For me, I feel like Pacific Rim was really the place where I feel like a lot of people started to know, or no, it was Pan's Labyrinth. I feel like
Pan's Labyrinth was definitely the one
knew about that
where people realized it.
Yeah, you know who really used to be that person?
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson. That's right.
Absolutely.
I've seen all of Peter Jackson's movies.
I was a big fan of The Frighteners, and that was my Peter Jackson film. Mm-hmm. In fact, it still is, because I'm not a big fan of Lord of the Rings. But yeah, everybody knows him now for that, and King Kong. Mm-hmm. And
I'm talking like Dead Alive.
Yeah, Dead Alive.
Brain Dead. Meet the Feebles.
Yeah, Meet the Feebles is the other one.
Heavenly Creatures with
oh yeah,
what's her face? Whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is much more difficult because we're not as film.
I'm not as plugged in as I used to be.
I'm not. I like, even with One of Us, I'm not as much. Like, when you compare me to somebody like Elson, One of Us, I'm very much mid-range kind of thing when it comes to my knowledge. Whereas if you ask my roommate, he's got this fucking fuck-off list that he would be able to answer this question in like 10 seconds.
Well, a lot of it, too, just comes... I mean, maybe the best way to answer this question is by talking a little bit more about... Like, I think that... Neg Primer, I appreciate the question. It's just, I think that you and we had that question about, like, if you could only have one media type, what would that media type be? Oh, yeah. It was like video games.
We said video games within seconds. So we're like, what about movies? Fuck those guys.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I guess it's just like recently... okay, for me, here's the thing. One, I don't go to the movies. Like, I don't want to go to the movies. So I'm not interested. Like, I don't like, Amanda and John were going to the movies a lot. Like, they went to go see Gretel and Hansel when it was in the theater.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I watched it when it eventually came onto VOD, and I was like, it was all right. But, like, I'm glad I didn't go to the theater, because if I go spend fucking $30 to go to a theater and watch a movie, I better come out and just be like, fuck yeah! Because if I don't, then I'm going to be mad at that movie. But... So I don't do that. And then I feel like a lot of the stuff that I watch at home, like I watched Extraction, the Chris Hemsworth Netflix.
Oh, yes, Extraction.
It was good. It was fine. But the problem that I get into is that I honestly feel... I don't think it's true for everybody. I think there's some cinephiles that get like really deep into it. But for me, I'm a real basic bitch, right? So when I was a kid, I watched all the kid movies in the 80s and 90s. And like then when I became a teenager and I was a real pretentious little art nerd, and I was just like, oh man, you got to watch all these David Lynch movies, and fucking, have you seen The Young Poisoner's Handbook? That movie is incredible. And, I would go to the Dolby Theater to watch the art films that came out. And then I watched enough of them that I got tired of them. And then I went back to watching other things. And now it's like there was a question when one of us did the last gathering, I think, where it was like, what was the best movie of last year? And it was really difficult for me or best movie of the decade.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know, there's like 3 that I would choose from. And eventually I'm just like, I think it's Mad Max, because I liked that movie and I watched it more than anything else, because I'm just not interested in a lot of I'm not interested in seeing a thing that I've seen before. It's, I think, one of the reasons why I might not be as interested in the upcoming Marvel stuff right now, because it's like, man, we did that, and now we're going to do it again? Like, we're going to start at the beginning of Marvel, and we're going to build up to another Infinity War, and I'm just like, oh, no. Like,
I'm not really in the mood for that anymore.
Yeah.
You guys kind of blew your load already.
Well, like, I mean, I think I've said this to you and in other places before, but, like, honestly, I'm in a place where I could use a little deconstruction. Like, I've finally got some just like good old generic vanilla superhero movies that weren't about like, what if Batman was real, or let's break down what it means to be a superhero. It's just like, how about just Captain America throws a shield at things? And they were like, okay, we got you. And I was like, great, good, you've done it. And we did that shit for a decade. And now I'm like, all right, now we can go back to deconstructing Captain America and see what's, really
like
makes
Mystery Men would be great now.
Oh, yeah.
I love Mystery Men, but the thing is, Mystery Men just came out at the wrong time.
Yes.
Is all it comes down to. In fact, you could probably re-release Mystery Men now, and it would work even better.
Hey, I know a lot of people who fucking hate Mystery Men.
I fucking love that movie.
I think it's great.
That movie's amazing.
It's delightful.
Me and my coworkers spent like an hour talking about it not too long ago. They're like, who would you think you would be? They're like, I think you would be the shoveler. I'm like, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
The Blue Raja.
Yeah. No, so I don't know. I'm just trying to think of anything that I've watched recently that was just like, oh, that was surprisingly good. But I'm having a hard time because
I've been playing a lot of games.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of games.
Issue.
I've been watching a lot of anime. Like I would say that like I watched Dr. Dolittle and it seemed perfectly fine.
Yeah,
that wasn't like
I still don't see the issue with that movie.
Yeah, it was perfectly fine. I
liked it.
Okay, the guy that made Klaus. The Klaus guy. I always think that Klaus is like way underrated. The movie's delightful and charming, and I love it.
Everyone really likes that one.
If it was just like a few years earlier, I don't know. Maybe people are still not getting it, but like, I still think that Lin-Manuel Miranda is like one of the best songwriters that's out there. Like the stuff that he did on Moana and Hamilton and stuff like that. Like I think that he's really, really, really good. But
he's a weird one because he's like under the radar for some people, but he's like very much over the radar for a lot of people.
Yeah,
and it's weird because a lot of the times he's over the radar depending on what it is that you ask them about.
Right.
Like if you ask somebody about Hamilton, they'll like gush over there. But if you ask me, I'm going to bring up DuckTales kind of thing because of him as Gizmo Duck. And like it's just kind of weird when you think about it that way.
He's the Mary Poppins.
Yeah, and he's also exactly
Mary Poppins remake thing. All right, Persian King writes in and says, what's a game that... Oh, my God, Persian King. This is Jeff Catnip. What's a game you initially blew off, but eventually got around to and found yourself genuinely enjoying? When Assassin's Creed Odyssey was first released, I found myself too exhausted to play after spending the majority of Assassin's Creed Origins on horseback trying to explore the game's gigantic map and decided that it was time to jump off the Assassin's Creed ship into the Assassin's Creed hay bale. But with the announcement of Valhalla getting me excited for the franchise again, while still in the middle of quarantine, I decided I'd try out Odyssey to see if I could change my mind about it. Helps that PlayStation had on sale for about $30. And to my surprise, barring a few problems I do have with it, I'm actually having a lot of fun with the game, especially whenever the game's seafaring and ship-on-ship combat comes into play. Yeah, thanks. And that's from Persian King 44. So games that you snoozed on and then finally came around to. Everything. I mean, a
lot of them actually.
Any game that I've always been like, Minecraft is stupid. Oh shit, I love it now. Like, Kerbal Space Program is too hard to play. Oh my god, I love it so much now. I mean, I didn't really get into fucking Souls for a while. Like that took me time.
I didn't get into Assassin's Creed for a while.
I didn't get into Metal Gear until it was really... I played Metal Gear on the PC. Like, that's
really?
where I played it, was the PC version of Metal Gear. Yeah, there's been a lot.
Horizon Zero Dawn was one of those. I was very much... Because it came out at the same time as Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was very focused on that. And eventually I played it, and it's a great fucking game.
Yep.
Same with some of the Mario stuff. I didn't play Mario Sunshine for a long time. I finally got back to it. I was like, yeah, this is pretty good.
I still haven't. You know what? Yakuza. I slept on Yakuza for a long time.
Yeah, that was another one.
I got into Yakuza.
Because my roommate was really into Yakuza. That was how I found out. I was 20 when he showed it to me. And I was like, I'm sure it's a thing. I didn't try Yakuza until I was like 28.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wait, this game's fucking great. It's just really long, but it's great.
Yeah.
The same with Mass Effect. First Mass Effect. I didn't play that when it first came out. And then I got really into Mass Effect one day.
I mean, I think that maybe this could be applied to everybody, but like, I didn't give a shit about the Elder Scrolls until Skyrim. Like, I didn't play Oblivion or Morrowind I actually tried playing all of them, but I didn't like any of them.
That's exactly what happened to me.
Skyrim, when I was like, oh, I like this.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. Same with the Fallout games.
Yeah.
People really, I didn't really like Fallout until New Vegas. And
you play one?
Huh?
You play one?
I played it for a little bit, but I wasn't really a big fan of it. Because that was when I kind of PC gamed a bit.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't a very big PC gamer. I was very like whenever I did PC gaming, there's a point where I just stopped, and then I was just pure console from then on.
Yeah.
And then so I didn't really care for those types of games for a bit. All the Zelda 64 games, I didn't touch any of those for ages. And then I went back. It's like, oh, I can see why everyone likes Ocarina of Time and definitely see why everyone likes Majora's Mask kind of thing.
Yeah, fuck Ocarina of Time. Majora's Mask for life.
That game is so much better than Ocarina of Time. You guys are all fucking crazy. Ocarina of Time is not the best Zelda game.
I mean, I get it, but I was talking to Matt about this, how, like, you know, everybody's like, Ocarina of Time, I played it when I was a kid, and I'm like, A Link to the Past.
Yeah.
I played it when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's what I say too. Well, that's one of the things I always point to, where like you can tell a person the first Zelda game a person played based on their favorite one. Because I say A Link to the Past as well, because that was the first one I played. But my friend's first one was Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
And so that's his favorite, even though I think A Link to the Past is way better. But he also thinks it's the opposite kind of thing.
Well, I'll tell you a little secret. Link to the Past is actually the third Zelda game that I played, because I played 1 and Adventures of Link.
Oh, okay.
And I beat Adventures of Link, but I the first one was a little too inscrutable. I was never just about like walking around and stabbing every single thing and bombing every single thing in the map to find all that shit. It didn't go for me, but man, and Link to the Past.
It's
like,
perfect. It's
plus,
one of the most perfect games ever made.
You know, when we were recording BioShock this week, and we were trying to think, or last week, and we were trying to think of like other big like twists in video games that have happened. I tell you fucking what, when they were like, when you got to the end of side A of Link to the Past, and they were like, here's the other world, and there's 8 dungeons in this one, so get going, bitch. And I was just like, what?
Yeah, you get the Master Sword, and you're like, okay, I'm going to murder this dude now.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, here's the Dark World. And I'm like, the Dark what now?
Yep.
And they're like, well, good luck, buddy. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Oh, man. Everything is harder. Why is everything so much harder here?
That was the thing. You're like, I have all the things. Everything's going to be fine. Oh, I do not have all the things.
Yep.
I need to get that gold-ass shield.
Holy shit. Grant and I played all the way through Legend of Zelda Link to the Past for Patreon.
Yeah.
It was one of our Patreon things. I forgot about that. You know what? I'm a man enough to admit, speaking of stuff that Grant and I played on Patreon, that I was very, very, very dismissive of Asura's Wrath, and it just didn't come at the right time for me.
Oh, that game's amazing. But for all the craziest reasons.
It is eventually, but like I was just not having it. I feel like that game came out at the height of QuickTime event burnout.
It did, though, is the thing. That's one of the reasons it didn't do so well.
Yeah. And I was just like, fuck you. And then finally went back and played it, and I was like, all right, you're good.
A lot of games I didn't play, not because I slept on them, it's just that I didn't have a way of playing them for a long time. I didn't play the original God of War until way after the fact.
Were you GameCube? Were you GameCube?
I just didn't have the money, because I had a PS2, but I didn't have... it was one of those things where... It was one of those things where I had to be very selective about what I got. And since I'm a giant Dragon Ball nerd and there's a new Dragon Ball game every year, I ended up just getting the Dragon Ball game. And it made it really easy on my mom, because she'd be like, what do you want for Christmas? Like, what Dragon Ball came out this year? And, and she would just buy me that. And so it was easier than anything else kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. I know that I currently have never engaged with Pikmin. I wasn't a big fan of Pikmin. I tried the first one. Oh, you know what? I got one for this is Smash. I did not get Smash until they fucking put that giant story mode in it. Which, you know, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, it was a story mode in the Wii U one. And I'm like,
fuck, I still haven't finished it now I think about it.
And was there a Wii Smash?
Yes, there's a Smash on everything from the 64 until now.
Okay.
Except for the handhelds, and even then, they made one for the 3DS.
Yeah. It didn't appeal to me when I was an edgy GameCube gamer, and then I didn't get a Wii for a long time, and I kind of hate the Wii. Like, even after I got one, I was like, half these games make me have to waggle my hands around, and I don't fucking want to waggle my hands around. And then the Smash came out on the Wii U, and I was like, what's the story for this game? And they were like, ha 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 ha. And I was like, oh, okay,
yeah,
bye.
There's no story at all for that one.
And then they had that huge ass story on the Switch version. I was just like, all Christmas, like 2 Christmases ago, I just played all the way through. That's another one that has a fucking dark world in it where you're just like, oh shit.
Which caught me the fuck off guard.
Yeah. Well, it didn't catch me the fuck off guard because I wanted to be unlocking Bayonetta since the minute I started playing, and they were just like, nope. I'm like, what the fuck is Bayonetta?
I had everybody. It was one of those things where my thought process was like, well, maybe they just didn't put everyone in it. And then I was like, oh, I should have realized that this is what was going on.
Yeah.
That game is super long.
That was good. It was good though. Oh yeah, it is really long.
At least longer than I thought.
Yeah.
Because the Wii, the Wii one, I think is the last one that had the story. That one could be beaten out, not after a while, but it was much shorter.
I was thinking about saying New Vegas, but I don't think that's true. I see it now, but I still maintain that like I don't think Fallout 3 is as bad as the people that like New Vegas think it is, and New Vegas is good, but it is really rough, and you can't play it like you play Fallout 3. So, well, I think we're gonna wrap it up. That should be another podcast.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody for writing in. We were super low on questions. So if you got this far, hey, do me a favor and either type a question in the Discord on the hashtag podcast question select channel or mail@rageselect.com. If you want to spin the tax wheel, you can go to patreon.com/rageselect. And if you want to hear more from Michael, you can check him out over at oneofus.net. And that's it. Stay safe. Keep it safe out there. We'll see you next time.